Hey guys, how are you all? Welcome back to my channel. Today we will see what if Naruto and Yugioh Harem. If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments. Professor Banner. Why would you do this? A brown short-haired girl with orange highlights asked sadly as tears threatened to leak out of her honey brown eyes. Her clothing consisted of a red miniskirt and a sleeveless white shirt with a red stripe down the middle that contained her fairly large bust. The white-haired German professor smiled sadly. I did this because there are two more Shadow Riders you must defeat. One is the leader of the Shadow Riders and the other is a male version of you. But just a bit smarter book-wise. But more oblivious than a slowpoke. But he is very wise, powerful and is an expert at trolling his opponents, he said with a raised finger. Jaden sniffed before looking at Banner with a minor pout. Mo, that's not funny using a Pokemon reference in a Yu-Gi-Oh and Naruto crossover, she said before getting a minor flick across the forehead from the German. Stop breaking the fourth wall, Banner said as he began fading away. Looks like my time is up. Listen, I lied, you have the potential to be the strongest duelist on the planet. This is what he told me. Duel Monsters isn't just a card game, it's a way to shape new bonds with rivals. It is what makes me and you, and it is also what makes the power known as friendship. Banner finished as his body turned to sand, leaving a crying teenager with a lot riding through her head. On one of the spires on top of Duel Academy was a sitting black hooded figure holding two deck boxes. One box was black with purple swirls and a chain adorning the box all around. This was his dark deck made for his ghosts and demons. And the other deck was white with multiple colored flames licking the bottom. This was his dragonic deck made for his dragons and guardians. On the figure's shoulder was a crimson furred fox with black tips snickering. The figure briefly glowed a light green before he opened the dark deck and a rush of Halloween-themed cards rushed out of it. Alright, you pranksters, go have some fun, he called as the cards flew off in the wind. He then felt a pull on his cloak. The culprit was a small white-haired child hiding her face behind her white kimono's sleeve and purple obi, looking up at him with wide purple eyes and a small blush. The hooded figure sighed before he pulled the girl into his lap, getting the child's blush to increase. Don't feel like causing trouble tonight with Jack. Do you, Ona? He asked the child, getting a shake of the head as an answer as she buried her head in his chest. Stubborn just like me, ya know. Okay, we'll stay like this for a bit longer, he said as he pet the girl's head. The girl smiled before she nodded to sleep off into her owner's lean chest, unknowingly angering the female monsters in the draconic deck, wishing they were in her position. The hooded figure sighed once again before he whispered, I really hope this match is every bit as fun as you promised me, old man, he said, then pulled out an orange and black cased phone and began playing some relaxing music as he nodded off as well. Are you kidding me? There's another two Shadow Riders and they're stronger than Banner? One Chaz Princeton yelled in fury before shaking poor Cyrus Trusdale like a ragdoll since he couldn't shake Jaden. Jaden nodded her head, but he's like me and I would never, at least that's what Banner, Anael told me before he vanished, she stated as she thought about how exactly he's able to control nature. He could have lied, a fairly attractive blue-haired girl, Z Trusdale said before shaking her head. Then again, why would he have even told you anything about the last rider? She asked more to herself as one of her dark blue eyes closed and thought as her waist-length hair shifted from side to side and she covered her arms under her fairly moderate bust, getting a few males to stare at her only to get called a pervert by her best friend Alexis Rhodes, who wasn't by any means lacking in the beauty or bust department. Let's just sleep on it for now. It sounds like they're ready to stage the final attack, Bastion Misawa said as the gang went off into their living arrangements, blue-green cat-like eyes watching them from the shadows. The next morning could only be described as absolute chaos. The hallways were frozen solid and slippery as was the lake. The dorms were teepeed by a massive amount of bandages. There was cat hair and bats everywhere. People were freaking out as they thought they saw their reflections come out of the mirror. Candles were suddenly lit and the power continued to cut off. But what happened to the gang was far worse in some cases. Great Scott! Bastion called from his room as he picked up a small orange book. Where all my books are, and what is this Icha paradise? He said as he opened the book. Let's see. Riku pushed Zeke on the forest floor before she pulled off. Oh my, and then my word, and then, Einstein's ghost. This is amazing, Bastion said as he buried himself deeper in the book. In the obelisk blue dorm a similar scene is replaying with Alexis and her roommates Jasmine and Mindy. Somebody stop me. Cyrus yelled, as did Chumley, as the duo slid across the icy hallways before they slammed face first into the door of the classroom. Cyrus's sister Z shakes her head at her brother before walking away, only for a tripwire to activate and tighten around her ankle before she was pulled into the air and left dangling from a rope, trying to cover her panties with her skirt from being seen. "Who dares to prank the Chaz?" Chaz yelled to the heavens before he stepped around the corner and was bombarded by another series of pies for the fourth time this morning. "I swear to all that is Chaz, I will get you, you bastard," he said before a special pie hits square in junk. He kneels to the ground before saying, "That pie had a brick in it." Bawahahaha. Jaden laughed as another obelisk blue student was tarred and feathered in the same car wash type trap, before being ejected into the girls' dorm and being subjected to a rather ravenous beatdown from the girls that caught them. "Man, that was a good laugh, but I wonder who's been doing all this?" she asked herself as she walked away, only for her to snap a tripwire. A bag of flour emptied over her head and turned her into a dusty white slifer. Her right eye twitched before a small note flew in front of her that read, "Come to the forest tonight and prepare to get your game on." She growled before declaring, "It's on," as she walked back to her dorm to clean up and get ready for her duel. "Where is he? Where is the bastard that dares to defile the Chaz?" Chaz yelled as he tore through the bushes looking for said bastard, as the rest of the gang sighed. "I don't think the last Shadow Rider would be in a bush," Alexis stated, shaking her head, before a new male voice spoke. "She's right, you should probably check the clearing up north." "Thank you, you see, at least someone agrees me," Alexis stated. "Wait, who just said that?" she finished before the entire group turned to a black hooded figure hanging upside down from a tree with his face still being hidden. "Yo, holy raw, where did he come from?" Cyrus yelled. "Well, when my mother and father were in the mood for a child, my father lit the candles before sticking his fingers in. I asked, where did you just come from, not how you were born," Cyrus declared with a blush, getting a chuckle from the figure before he dropped out the tree with the cutest red-colored fox ever seen with bunny-like ears. "Oh, well, you should have said so." "I did," Cyrus stated, gritting his teeth. Chaz growled, "Enough chit-chat, who the heck are you anyway?" The figure chuckled before he pulled down his hood, getting a light blush from the present females as the hood revealed a tanned, handsome, spiky blonde and red streaked-haired teen around their age. His face was void of baby fat and had 3 strange whisker marks on each cheek, as well as a black arc mark under his left bright blue and right crimson red eye. "Merrick's marks. You can call me Naruto, the final Shadow Rider," he stated with a wide grin, getting a shocked look from the gang as he then picked up the crimson fox on his shoulder. "And this furball on my shoulder is Kura," he said, getting a yip from the now named Kura. "Hold up," Jaden began. You're the final Shadow Rider, no offense, but I thought you'd be, I don't know, more menacing, not a guy named after a ramen topping." She giggled a bit as he began drawing circles in the ground as a mini raincloud poured down on his parade, muttering, "It means maelstrom, damn it. Does this mean you're the one who's been messing with us throughout this entire day?" Z asked. Her left eyebrow began to twitch as the admittingly cute blonde nodded his head with that wide grin on once again. "Enough, are you ready to duel or what?" Alexis stated before Naruto phased out of existence and appeared right in front of her, staring her down with his heterochrome eyes brimming with childlike curiosity. She blushed at the intensity of his stare and noticed that the whisker marks on his cheeks weren't tattoos, but before she could say anything he vanished once again, but this time in front of the group. "I didn't even see him move," was the thought that was on everyone's mind as Naruto walked toward the clearing. After they had arrived at the clearing, Jaden stood across from Naruto with an eager grin and a fire in her eyes. Naruto chuckled before he took out a purple and black version of the Academy Duel disc. "Jaden, let's start the show," Naruto said. "Naruto, prepare to get your game on," she declared. "Duel start. Naruto 4000. My draw, and first off I activate the field spell Ghostrick Museum," he said as the landscape was changed to a dusty old museum with a few floating artifacts similar to Camula's castle. "Then I'll set a monster and a card face down and activate field barrier to protect my museum." Jaden 4000. Never heard of Ghostricks before, but I summon elemental hero Sparkman in attack mode and equip it with Spark Blaster, she said as a warrior in golden armor and a blue face shield appeared on her side of the field with a sparking gun. "And I'll activate my hero's blaster and change your face down monster to face up attack mode." she said as her hero fired his gun at Naruto's face-down card, revealing a silver-haired girl inside a mirror sitting on a floating dresser. E-Hero Sparkman LV4 Warrior 1680 1400 Def. Ghostrick Mary LV1 Fiend 180 1600 Def. I'm not finished yet because I fuse Sparkman with the Avian and Bubbleman in my hand with polymerization to summon elemental hero Tempest, and I'm having it attack your Ghostrick. She said as a blue-haired man wearing armor from all three heroes appeared on the field and attacked Ghostrick Mary with a gun-like attachment on its arm. E-Hero Tempest LV8 Warrior 2880 2800 Def. Naruto smirked under his hood. So close, but I activate the effect of my Ghostrick lantern from my hand, he said as a Tempest was stopped by a floating ghost with a pumpkin head carrying a lantern. You see, when you attack a Ghostrick, my lantern can negate your attack and summon itself in face-down defense mode, he said. His lantern tossed its head to Tempest, but before the warrior could drop the head shrieked a loud boo, giving Tempest a mild heart attack. Ghostrick Lantern LV1 Fiend 880 Def. Jaden smiled a bit. Fine, I set a card face down and end my turn. Naruto 4000 Ghostrick Mary, Ghostrick Lantern, Ghostrick Museum. 1 card face down, 1 card in hand. Jaden 4000 Elemental Hero Tempest, 1 card face down, no cards in hand. My draw, y'all know you're pretty good, haven't seen anybody pull out a powerful fusion monster that's strong in a while. So I'll battle back with a strong monster, so I summon my Ghostrick Cerberus in attack mode, he said as a dog collar appeared before multiplying into 3 as black smoke formed a black Doberman with 3 heads and big doe eyes and a wagging tail. Next I'll overlay my Ghostrick Lantern and my Ghostrick Mary to XYZ summon Ghostrick Duelahan, he said as Mary and Lantern nodded to each other before turning dark purple and flying into what looked like a black hole, before the hole shut and it exploded. Out of the explosion was a mythic creature only heard of in legends, the legendary Headless Horseman. Except a bit more comical. The horse was tinted a light blue as its rider was wearing black and gold armor carrying a sword as large as its body. Ghostrick Cerberus LV3 Zombie 1780 400 Def. Ghostrick Duelahan Rank 1 Fiend 1080 1000 Def. Requirement 2 Level 1s. Jaden tilted her head to the side. A motion that was copied by the gang, XYZ summon? About a minute later Naruto was drawing in the dirt the rules to XYZ summon huddled around by everyone from the gang. After you get the number of required monsters of the same level you can overlay them to special summon a monster with a black frame from your extra deck. There are a few exceptions. That seems ridiculously overpowered and just plain not fair, Cyrus said as the others nodded in unison. It is, Naruto said with a grin as the gang sweat dropped. Anyway, I activate my Duelahan's ability to remove an overlay unit and half your monster's attack points, plus it helps that Duelahan gets a 200 attack point boost for every Ghostrick card on my field. Ghostrick Duelahan 1000 to 1600. E-Hero Tempest 2800 1400. Oh come on. Jaden complained as his Duelahan's horse rammed into Tempest. Gladly now Cerberus attack her Tempest with blazing howl, he commanded as Cerberus shot a fireball from its maw. I activate Tempest's effect. If I sacrifice a card on my field he can't be destroyed. Jaden 4000 - 300 equals 3700. Naruto smirked. I was counting Cerberus has 2 effects and I'll use one of them when Cerberus attacks and can't destroy an opponent's monster. He can attack again up to 2 more times, he said as Tempest was attacked by the other 2 heads. Jaden 3700 - 300 equals 3400 - 300 equals 3100. And now Duelahan attacks your Tempest once again, he said as Duelahan slashed her Tempest across his chest. Jaden 3100 - 200 equals 2900. Due to the field spell, when a monster inflicts a damage they're flipped face down and the opponent's monsters can stage a direct attack. So mine flipped face down and with that I'll set a card face down and end my turn, Naruto said as his monsters flipped themselves face down. Come on, let me see that fighting spirit. The damage isn't real, Jaden asked more than stated. Naruto smiled kindly under his hood. Of course not. I'm not dueling to hurt anybody, he said as Jaden's cheeks turned a bit rosy at his words and his compassion. Naruto 4000. 1 card in hand. 2 face downs, Ghostrick Museum, Ghostrick Duelahan and Cerberus. Jaden 2100. Number cards in hand. No face down, Elemental Hero Tempest. Jaden shook her head and slapped her cheeks, getting the blush to lessen. My draw, and first off I activate the Spell Hero Draw. This card lets me draw a card for every Elemental Hero card in my graveyard and on my field, and I have 4. I'll go ahead and use 2 of them. I activate Pot of Greed and Fusion Recovery. She then drew 4 cards, giving her a total of 5, with an Elemental Hero Avian back in her hand. And first off I flipped summon my Elemental Hero Tempest and activate Monster Reborn to bring back Elemental Hero Sparkman, and I'll fuse my Avian in my hand with Elemental Hero Burstinatrix in my hand to fusion summon Elemental Hero Flame Wingman. She said as a green-skinned warrior appeared with a dragon for a hand and white wings and black markings appeared in a flame. Elemental Hero Flame Wingman LV6 Warrior 2180 1400 def. Not bad, you managed to bump off your offense. Not bad at all, Naruto said. Jaden grinned. You haven't seen anything yet. I activate R Righteous Justice to destroy Field Barrier, and your face downs an H Heated Heart to give my wingman a 500-point boost and the piercing ability. Elemental Hero Flame Wingman 2100-2600. Bastion grinned. Because she has destroyed his face down cards, he has nothing to protect his life points because of his own field spell. She's won, he stated confidently as Heavy Storm destroyed Field Barrier and his face down Spirit Barrier, until a separate typhoon blew away Ghostrick Museum. The hooded team chuckled at the looks on their faces as the clearing returned to normal. Sorry, but I activated Mystical Space Typhoon to destroy my Field Barrier, so you can't get to my life points without destroying my monsters first. Alright then, Flame Wingman, attack your face down Ghostrick Cerberus with Scorching Impact. And when he destroys a monster you take damage equal to that monster's attack points, she said as her wingman slammed through Cerberus's card in a fiery tackle before the hero opened his dragon hand and launched a flame towards Naruto and engulfed him in a flame. Naruto 4000-2200 equals 1800-1700 equals 100. Now Sparkman destroy his Duelahan with Spark Blast. She ordered as Sparkman sent a blast of electricity towards Duelahan's card, destroying the horseman. Before she continued, then I activate Instant Fusion to fuse my Elemental Hero Flame Wingman with my Sparkman to fusion summon Elemental Shining Flare Wingman. And his ability gives a 300-point boost for every E-hero in my graveyard, and there's a total of 5. Now go Tempest. She called as Flame Wingman, and Sparkman jumped into a swirl and created a tall, winged, light green-skinned warrior with shining silver armor with a red light at the center of his helmet. Elemental Hero Shining Flare Wingman LV8 Warrior 2580 2100 def. Elemental Hero Shining Flare Wingman 2580 4080. Oh shit, Naruto thought as he looked towards the shining hero in a bit of panic. This is so much fun, he thought with a feral grin. Cyrus cheered. Alright, Jaden won. There's no way he could survive this next move, he said as Tempest blasted Naruto, kicking up a storm of dust in his hood. Wait, Z began. If Jaden won, why are her monsters still on the field? She asked aloud as the gang acknowledged her statement as the dust cleared and revealed a somewhat familiar scene, except instead of Ghostrick Lantern on the field was a snowman dressed for winter weather, protecting himself with a giant snowman before the snowman collapsed on Tempest, flipping him face down. Z's eyes widened before saying, that's the monster from earlier. Ghostrick Jack Frost LV1 Fiend 880 def. From the dust Naruto began laughing, not manically, but as if he was having fun. The dust began to clear as he spoke. Let me explain what happened to your monster. Naruto begins as spectral figures appeared behind. You see, when you attacked me directly, I activated the effect of Ghostrick Jack Frost, flipping your monster face down and therefore sparing my life points. He finished before another pie was thrown into Chaz's face. My Ghostricks are really great monsters, but they are natural pranksters to their core, Naruto said as Chaz screamed and pointed at Naruto before he was hit with another banana cream pie. As a light brown furred werewolf dressed only on pants rolled around laughing madly as its blue eyes filled with tears, before it ran off with a meep meep and stuck out its tongue and ran away with Chaz right behind it. I'll turn you into a new carpet, you mangy mutt, Chaz yelled. Naruto sighed. Actually that was Ghostrick Werewolf, one of more mischievous of the group. And if any of you picked up an orange book labeled Icha Icha, I apologize, that was Lantern, he's a slight pervert. He finished as Bastion and Alexis looked away with a small blush. Naruto tilted his head to the side before stating more than asking, "You read the book didn't you?" "Cute," Jaden muttered, as did Alexis and surprisingly Z. "I throw down a card face down and end my turn." Naruto tilted his head to the other side at the comment with a minor blush. "You're not too bad yourselves, ya know," he said, making each girl blush a bit more before Jaden continued. "Then my shining flare wingman will attack your Jack Frost," she stated, but before the shining hero could attack, a freaking floating fiery pumpkin poofed out of nowhere in his face, giving him a mild heart attack and effectively stopping his attack. Probably should have mentioned that when Ghostrick Duelahan is destroyed, I can add a Ghostrick monster back to my hand, and I chose Ghostrick Lantern. You can never keep a good ghost down. Jaden laughed and smiled widely. "This is pretty a fun match. Let's see you get out of this one. I end my turn." Chumley asked, "How much longer do you think this will take? They're pretty even." "With Jaden's heroes out on the field, it shouldn't be too much longer. I mean, one more attack and he's done," Alexis stated. "Then why is he smiling like he's won the lottery?" Cyrus asked. Jaden 2900. Naruto 100. "My draw and I activate Pot of Greed and draw 2 more cards, and I think I'll use both of them. First up is Ghostrick Mummy, and due to his effect I can summon another Ghostrick monster, and I pick the only other one in my hand, Ghostrick Spectre," he said as a mummified cartoon zombie and a white bed sheet with green monster feet appeared on his side of the field, as he was left with one card in his hand. Ghostrick Mummy LV3 Zombie 1580 0 def. Ghostrick Spectre LV1 Fiend 680 0 def. Next up I'll overlay my level on Ghostrick Spectre, level 1 Ghostrick Jack Frost, and my level 1 Ghostrick Lantern to XYZ summon my Ghostrick Necromancer, he declared as the 3 monsters flew into a black portal before it exploded. Out of the explosion appeared a dark-skinned female cloaked figure with 3 imps flying around her, with her holding a strange staff with 3 rings wrapped around the top. I'm not finished yet because she gives every monster on my field a 300-point boost for every Ghostrick in play. I activate her ability to revive 1 monster in my grave at the cost of 1 overlay unit. I pick Ghostrick Cerberus, but he's not staying for long because I overlay my 2 level 3 monsters, Cerberus and Mummy, to XYZ summon the king of the deck Ghostrick Alucard, he said as the 2 zombie-type monsters formed another portal, but this time a swarm of bats appeared. A single black eye with a red bead could be seen from the swarm before they dispersed, revealing a white-skinned figure with royal black garments and a black cape. I don't know what gender Alucard is. Ghostrick Necromancer R1 Fiend 580 2000 def minus 500 plus 2700 equals 3280. Ghostrick Alucard R3 Zombie 1880 1600 def 1800 plus 2700 equals 4580. Alucard, you're up. I remove an overlay unit to destroy your face-down elemental hero Tempest, he said as Alucard used an overlay unit to smash through Tempest's card. Now go, my 2 monsters, finish her off, he ordered as Alucard unleashed a swarm of bats that enshrouded Shining Flare Wingman before he was destroyed, and Necromancer just bopped Jaden on the head and giggled as she jumped away back to her little brother. Jaden 2100 minus 500 equals 1600 minus 3200 equals 0. Winner Naruto. I don't believe it, Jaden lost, Alexis stuttered. Cyrus grabbed his head before getting in the fetal position, rocking back and forth muttering, "Game over. We're done. Game over," he said in utter despair, getting a sigh from his older sister before she walked over and began to step on his stomach and began to add pressure until he cried out in pain. "Be quiet for a minute, you being depressed does not help this situation at all," she demanded with her foot still on her baby brother's back. Cyrus grunted, "Did you really have to step on me? You could have just asked." Yes, I did," she said with a small smirk on her face. "Sadist," the gang thought before they shivered as Z smiled a too sweet smile that did not belong on her face. "Ari, you better not be calling me a sadist. Now watch," she said as Cyber End Dragon's shadow appeared behind her, and everyone quickly looked towards the 2 duelists. Jaden fell to her bottom as her body shivered for an unknown reason as a light blush spread across her face. Naruto walked forward with ice-cold blue eyes, before he looked down at the Slifer Red, and the cold look was replaced with a smile and warm blue eyes as he held out his hand. She looked up and her blush increased to a full-body blush as her knees turned to jelly. "Hey, you okay?" he asked before he pressed his forehead against hers, getting the blush to turn even redder. "You don't seem to have a cold." He could not be that dense, they thought. "Oh well, up we go." He began getting a confused stare from Jaden as the blush receded a bit, only for it to flare up worse as he lifted her up bridal style and carried her over to the gang and gently sat her down before walking back towards the forest. "See y'all later, reps," he said, waving his hand. "Wait a minute," Alexis called out, getting her fellow blonde to look over his shoulder. "Yuan, doesn't that mean you take her ki or her soul and revive the sacred beasts?" she said. Naruto shook his head. "Like I said before, dueling isn't meant to hurt people even if you are able to. Dueling is a way to form bonds with people you don't even know. There is an old saying I learned from an old friend of mine. When one life meets another, something wonderful is born. I was raised believing this and I will continue to follow through with it until I die," he said before an evil laugh filled the air. My fraternizing with enemy are we?" a sophisticated yet cyber-like voice said as a hologram showing a shadowed figure with a glowing ring. "I thought we taught you better than thought." "TCH, you didn't teach me jack, Kagemaru. All that I learned was that you guys need the 11 foot poles removed from all your asses," Naruto said with an accusing finger. "That and you guys never have any fun. I mean, the only time I ever had any fun was when I gave Night Shroud, Titan and Dawn wedgies, switched Camula's makeup with Tanya's, gave the Prince and Anael a new shiny coat of orange and purple paint, and filled your water tube into cherry jello and dyed your lair seafoam green." "When did you do that?" the hologram asked with what seemed to be fear, as Naruto pulled out a small box with a red button with an innocent smile before he said, "Right now," and pressed the button as a loud bang and a large seafoam green-colored mushroom-shaped cloud appeared in the distance. "Why, you're truly evil," the hologram said as the mushroom cloud receded. "Bawahahahaha. You shall bow before the might of the mighty prank god Naruto, or perish in the mighty wake of my pranks and drown yourself in your own embarrassment," Naruto yelled as he laughed evilly, only to get smacked in the back of the head by Ghostrick. "Alucard?" Alucard crossed his arms with a wagging a white finger with a light smile on his face. "I thought the duel was over. Why is his monster here, and how did his monster even touch him?" Chumley yelled as question marks appeared over everyone's head that soon turned into sweat drops as Naruto punched Alucard in the gut, and the two began fighting in a Three Stooges way until Naruto had enough and kicked Alucard hard enough in the baby-making zone and dissipated him back into particles. Naruto looked down towards his left arm as he sighed. "Let's just say it's one of my abilities as a duelist. My monsters can become real in this plane of existence." "Ahem, if you don't mind, I would like to collect my winnings," Kagemaru interrupted as a golden flash from his Millennium Ring glowed before a beam shot from the hologram towards the Slifer Red female. "Jaden, your dual spirit and soul are mine." "Jaden, watch out," the gang cried as Jaden attempted to shield the blast by crossing her arms as a large explosion enveloped her. Boom! What nobody had noticed was that one person had vanished from view. Once the dust cleared, everyone had been expecting their favorite Slifer was worse for wear. What they had not been expecting was the surprisingly friendly Shadow Rider with what now is a large burn mark on his back, shielding said Slifer with his body facing towards her. Jaden slowly opened her eyes, wondering why she hadn't felt her soul or spirit being drained or taken away, only to see her new friend in a considerable amount of pain as his back was smoking. Naruto, why would you?" she stuttered as tears began leaking out from her eyes. Naruto chuckled before he weakly poked her head. "And now why are you crying? You're far too cute to cry. And I did this because you're my opponent." "No, you were my opponent, you're my friend now. Bar the monsters in my deck, I never had any friends. So when I met you and your friends, I had something I didn't have for a long time. Hope that I could maybe become friends with you guys and girls. Guess I won't be able to enjoy myself in duels anymore. Pity, I was really looking forward to dueling with you all." He finished as he collapsed into the dirt. "Ba bump. Such a fool that boy was," Kagemaru began. The gang grew quite angry at this blatant show of disrespect, with Z actually voicing her opinion quite angrily. "You mean you're not even a bit upset that you attacked your own rider?" she asked, with Jaden falling to her knees and staring at her new friend's body. "Ba bump, ba bump." The hologram chuckled. "Of course not. he was simply nothing but cannon fodder that wasn't even able to fully follow any commands. He was a sorry excuse for a duelist, just like that pathetic excuse Banner. BA bump BA bump BA bump. He was never worth anything and was never going to amount to anything, he just was a failure. Kagemaru sneered and was about to continue until a golden aura exploded from Jaden's body and she gave him a glare from her now golden-colored eyes. "Shut up," she said as the hologram machine broke and said hologram cut transmission. Now that the object of her rage was temporarily dealt with, the aura receded as she began to cry. The gang surrounded her to support her in her time of need. Poke. Her eyes snapped open as the fallen blonde chuckled weakly. "You can't get rid of me that easily, ya know," he said as he was almost squeezed back to near death by Jaden. "Dumbass, dumbass, dumbass," she yelled, "you could have died." Sorry about that," Naruto said as his Ghostrick deck glowed a light purple. Naruto and the cards glowed a light purple before a very large creature around the size of the obelisk blue dorms and a shadowed female rose from the ground. The creature picked up the academy members of Duel Academy and the injured Naruto while the female carried Kura in her arms and flew to the creature's shoulder, sitting down on it. The large creature then walked out of the forest to Duel Academy, causing a mini quake with each step. "My word, what is that annoying sound?" Professor Crowler asked as he walked around the campus in a nightie as the sound of stomping echoed throughout Duel Academy's walls. The man-lady stomped throughout the dorms attempting to follow the sounds before a rather heavy step pretty much shook Duel Academy's foundation to its core. The now wide-awake Professor Crowler and Principal Shepard ran outside to confront the maker of the quakes, only to see a terrifying monster. The monster was huge, easily the size of the obelisk blue. Its legs and arms seemed to be made out of metal and brick, as was the rest of its body. On its shoulder was a chimney, while on its top was a roof, while right under the roof was a pair of lit windows. All in all, it looked like a house. The creature didn't seem to have a mouth until the front door on its stomach flew open and it roared. They then noticed the monster was holding their students who were supposed to still be on campus in the creature's hands, with a near unconscious whiskered spiky blonde-haired teen as well. Before they could tell the creature to let them go, the creature lowered them to the ground as a shadow with bat wings swooped down and dropped a small red fox with the blonde male. Both figures soon disappeared in a purple flash. Mr. Shepard broke the silence with a few simple words that said nothing but panic in his speech. "What have you gotten yourselves into, and why is he here as well?" Crowler noticed the scared look on the principal's face. "Principal Shepard, what's wrong? Who is that child?" Shepard turned towards Crowler just enough so Crowler could see the panic in his eyes. This boy was known as the Elemental Nation's greatest weapon and one of the most dangerous duelists since the Merrick from Battle City. This boy is known as the Chaotic Fox. "Freak," one shouted. "Monster," another shouted. "Even if you cheated, Sasuke-kun will always be better than you, Baka," a shrill voice shouted. "You are our weapon, never forget that. No one could ever love a monster like you. The only thing you're good for is to pass on your genes of Minato-sama and Kushina-sama. You are our toy, only to be used to make our men jealous. Dai Dobi. I'm sorry I couldn't be there for you, but know this, I'll always love you, my special baby boy." Naruto woke up in a sweaty and heavily breathing mess as he tossed off the covers of the hospital bed. He just stared with blue and silvery eyes at his bandaged hands and abdomen as the memories from the duel and afterwards raced through his mind. His door opened slightly before a white, red and black bullet shot into his stomach and he felt something wet lick his cheeks. Naruto looked down to see a quivering Kura with teary red slit eyes. "Sorry for worrying you, girl," Naruto said as he hugged the fox, before his deck lying right next to him glowed a bit as a small feminine figure popped out of his ghost deck and sat on top of his spiky locks. The girl had long pink hair and green eyes. She wore a frilly light blue dress with a matching hat and stockings decorated with same flowers she held in her hands. The only thing odd about the girl besides the permanent blush on her face were what looked like doll parts. His draconic deck glowed as a pair of blonde women appeared in a flash as Naruto began sweating heavily. The younger woman, looking blonde, was dressed in a blue and pink mini skirt, pink and blue boots and a low-cut shirt with a very strange-looking hat of the same color. She was quite cute with a permanent blush on her cheeks and blue eyes that were now narrowed in anger. The other blonde was wearing an Indian gown that went all the way to her ankles. On her head was a white eagle headdress, and her brown eyes that had red tribal markings underneath them were also narrowed in anger. "You are in so much trouble," the older-looking blonde woman said as the small pink-haired girl pulled on his whiskered cheeks, much to the amusement of his fox friend as she was picked up by the younger blonde. "Era, what did I do?" he asked with a tilt of his head, looking absolutely adorable as he was glomped by the younger blonde and pressed into her modest bust as the older-looking blonde was restraining to do the same if the blush on her face was anything to go by. The pink-haired girl on top of his head sighed, "Narukai, you're so dense. Itos is just mad that you risked your life for a cute girl, and Mana is just worried about you because they're both mmphhhh." She began only for Itos and Mana to cover her mouth and begin laughing awkwardly. Itos glared at the girl before whispering, "I swear, doll, that if you tell him anything I will personally shove my sword up your ass or whatever hole you call an ass. Don't forget the dark magic attack that will follow soon afterwards." Mana giggled with an innocent expression as a pitch-black aura enveloped her, and it said she was everything but innocent at this moment. This, however, was interrupted by Naruto wrapping his arms, the three getting them all to blush. Naruto sighed, "I'm sorry for making you all worry like that," he said with his bangs covering his eyes. The spirits returned the hug before Itos said, "Just don't do that again, you dumbass. Lady D was really worried about you." "Hi," he muttered before the door to the nurse's room began to open. "Crap, hide." Naruto panicked, waving his arms around only for the back injury to flare up a bit, as the dual spirits disappeared back into their respective decks. His door opened, revealing Shepherd and Crowler. The balding principal glared at the blonde and red-haired boy with brown eyes. Before he spoke, "So would you explain why my students are injured and why Kagemaru is issuing a challenge?" Getting a sigh from Naruto before Naruto explained what happened last night, bar a few details. Shepherd glared for a bit longer before his eyes softened. "Good, it matches up with student's story. Now come along, we must discuss future plans for dealing with the leader of the Shadow Riders," he said as he and Crowler left the room with a hospital gown wearing Naruto and a happy Kura on his head. "Hey, what's going on?" a male asked. "Why is he only in that gown?" a slifer red female asked. "I don't care how he's dressed, just look at his face. It's so cute," an obelisk blue female said. "His body is pretty well sculpted too," another obelisk blue female stated. "Man, how much I wouldn't give for some wind to blow by. Hey baby, can I have your number?" By the time they got to Shepherd's office, Naruto was a bright cherry red. What? He didn't get a lot of attention back home, people usually just ignored him, so when he hears catcalls from multiple attractive females, he blushed, increasing the amount of squeals and catcalls. God damn it, he didn't know how to deal with this. The only girls he had ever gotten to know were his dual spirits. By the time the three had arrived at Shepherd's office, the 7 academy students were all waiting outside. "Let's talk in my office," Shepherd said, getting a nod from the students and Naruto as they piled in, not noticing a few feminine gazes lingering on Naruto's hospital gown-clad body and bare ass. Shepherd sits down in his boss chair and puts his hands in front of his mouth, before he asked with hardened brown eyes, "What's Kagemaru's next move?" As he stared at the blonde and crimson-haired teen, said Teen sighed, "He's coming here for the sacred beasts," he stated, much to the shock of the other occupants in the room if the loud gasp was anything to go by. "But how? We have all the keys," Chaz yelled, pulling the 7 keys out of his pocket. "The keys aren't what awakens the beasts. It's the dual energy that was gathered by each and every duel with the Shadow Rider. The keys will just speed up the process a bit, and with that duel between Jaden and I, they're definitely awake." Crowler steps in with, "Do you have any idea when Kagemaru will appear?" Getting a shake of the head as the answer. "Well, until then you will be accompanied by Ms. Jaden Yuki." Crowler finished, getting a tilt of the head from Naruto and a mini blush from Jaden, who was still staring at his ass and had a slight glare from the obelisk blue females aimed in her direction. "Why does Chaz have all the keys?" Cyrus asked. "Better question. Where the hell are my clothes?" Naruto asked. "So besides XYZ summoning, there's Synchro and Pendulum?" Jaden asked with a light pink dusting across her cheeks as she trailed in front of Naruto with her hands behind her head. Naruto was now wearing a modified version of the slifer red uniform. Why? Because these uniforms had no orange. Orange was a badass color that deserved respect, just like the food of the gods known as ramen. He was now wearing an orange blazer in place of the red and black instead of the white over a white t-shirt. He looked damn good in that outfit if she said so herself. Kuro was back in the nurse's office as the nurse wanted to make sure everything was okay for the fox. Yep, hey, I could go for something to eat. How about you? He asked, getting a bright smile in return before she grabbed his arm and pulled him away to the cafeteria. In the cafeteria, the two duelists saw multiple students fighting over who was going to draw the golden eggwich today. On 3, Jaden said as the two reached into the eggwich cart, 1, 2, 3, pull. The two pulled out a yellow-wrapped sandwich before they removed the wrapper and bit into it. Ramen, Jaden spoke, getting a shocked look from Naruto. Golden, Naruto said, getting a shocked look from Jaden. Naruto's hair wilted and his eyes turned watery. As his bottom lip quivered, he pointed to Jaden's eggwich and offered his in exchange. Oh, okay, take it. Just stop it with the face already, it's too damn cute. Jaden said as the two switched the sandwiches, ate with gusto. They never noticed they were being followed by the other students. How come Jaden gets to show him around? Alexis said as they hid behind the bushes. Cyrus raised an eyebrow. Is that jealousy I detect? He asked only to squeak and hide as Alexis gave him the female death glare. Alexis lessened the glare before she turned her head, so no one could see her blush. I just think that someone who actually knows Duel Academy should show him around. Chumley's sweat dropped. Yeah, not jealous at all, he said, looking away like the other males in the group. Z whispered into Alexis's ear. You're jealous Jaden gets to show the cute foxy duelist around, and the fact she is bonding with him before you do, aren't you? Alexis bristled before a thought popped into her head. Cute and foxy, huh? She said with a smile as it was Z's turn to blush this time. Their friendly moment was interrupted when a large light green colored beam shot into the sky and the keys around Chaz's neck pulled him deeper into the forest. Where are you going, Chaz? Alexis asked. I don't know, Chaz yelled as he flew off as he was followed by the others. Naruto's and Jaden's heads snapped towards Chaz's voice, before Naruto squatted. Hop on. He said as the Slifer Red nodded and jumped onto his back before Naruto quickly took off towards the gang and caught up. It's okay, Naruto, try not to think pervy thoughts about the girl on your backs, she's not even wearing a bra. Damn it, I don't know how to deal with this. The 7 keys tore themselves from Chaz and flew into the 3 pillars in a bare area, before the ground began shaking as a briefcase rose from the ground on a pedestal. The briefcase opened and revealed the 3 sacred beasts, but before anybody could grab them, a familiar voice interrupted. Those cards do not belong to you. Kagemaru yelled from the helicopter hovering overhead, before a large spider-like machine dropped to the ground. Inside the machine's stasis-like tube was an old man with a large gray beard and cold black eyes hooked up to the machine over his mouth, which allowed him to breathe. Shepard, Crowler, Atticus, Alexis's older brother, and Kuro ran into the area, before Shepard began. My word, what's going on? He then looked into the machine as Kuro ran to her older brother. You're the superintendent, Kagemaru. You're the one that gave me the keys, so why are you here? Kagemaru chuckled. I gave you the keys so I could revive the beasts, and I'm guessing Naruto already told you that it's dual energy that is required to awaken the sacred beasts. But when last of my original riders failed, not enough dual energy was gathered, so I sent one of the most promising duelists to gather the rest of the dual energy and even absorb Naruto's abilities for my own use by tapping into the power of the beasts. Kagemaru laughed evilly as the machine grabbed the cards and put into a dual disc-like contraption. Well, you're not going to get to use them as long as I'm around, Z said. No way, this is the Chaz's duel and I'm going to Chaz you up. Don't even need to explain who this is. He's mine, Atticus said as he strummed his guitar. He turned me into one of his shadow riders. Alexis gained a depressed aura as her brother continued to strum his guitar. Before Bastion could say anything, Kagemaru stated, No, this why I hate teenagers. Well, fuck you too, Naruto replied. I will only duel Naruto or Jaden, for they have what I need, a soul and the ability to bring spirits to the real world and manifest them as flesh and blood. Jaden turned her head to the blonde. You can do that? Yep, but it takes a day's worth of energy just to use a few monsters. Naruto began with a nonchalant shrug before a light bulb appeared over his head. Yo Kagemaru, how about you duel both of us? That's acceptable, but I'll start out with twice the amount of life points and draw 2 cards instead of 1. Then I'll defeat both of you and send this place and everyone on it to the depths of the ocean. Chaz hopped out the crater, before Jaden asked, Where you going? Off this island, he said before Cyrus threw a backpack holding Jaden's duel disc to Jaden, hitting Chaz square in the face, as a card fell out of her backpack. This must be a card Banner wanted me to have, she thought as she inserted the card into her deck. Naruto held out his arm as a different duel disc appeared on his arm. This duel disc was white with red and blue flame-like patterns all across the place where you put your cards, with the entire part looking like a cross between an angel and dragon wing. Kagemaru prepared to burned alive with my draconic deck. Draconic? Jaden asked, slightly miffed her opponent took it easy on her. Where you taking it easy on me? What no? Naruto asked, waving his hands in front of his face. I alternate between this deck and my Ghostrick deck to be fair to both of them. It was just chance I used my draconic before I dueled you. If it makes you feel better, you can duel this deck after this duel. It's a date, Jaden said with a smile before her face turned bright red. I mean duel. Well, both of you won't be going anywhere after this duel. Kagemaru interrupted. Duel start. Naruto 4000. Jaden 4000. Kagemaru 8000. Ladies first, Jaden began. I summon Elemental Hero Burstinatrix in defense mode and set one card face down. That's all for now, she stated, a bit nervously awaiting the summon of the sacred beasts as her red tight-wearing elemental hero with a golden tiara and silver hair appeared in a burst of flames. Elemental Hero Burstinatrix LV3 Warrior 1280 800 Def. Naruto 4000. My turn then, Naruto stated. I summon Eclipse Wyvern in defense mode and set two cards face down and end my turn. Soon a small dragon with a half-white and half-black body appeared in a flash of light. Eclipse Wyvern LV4 Dragon 1680 1000 Def. Kagemaru 8000. It's my move and I set three traps cards face down, Kagemaru stated, much to the confusion of the others. I think his machine is glitched, Chaz snorted as Bastion nodded. Yes, he didn't need to say they were trap cards, so why did he now? Jaden and Naruto will be on guard for his traps. Kagemaru chuckled, let me show you why. I sacrifice all three continuous trap cards to summon the first of my sacred beasts, Yugioh Lord of Searing Flames, and he gains 1000 attack points for every continuous trap card in my graveyard, and I currently have 3. Kagemaru stated as his 3 face-down cards were lit aflame before they flew towards one of the 3 spires. The spire was engulfed in a column of fire before a red serpent-like dragon flew out. On above its yellow eyes was a blue gem. The mighty beasts gave off a monstrous roar. Yugioh Lord of Searing Flames Divine Beast 3080 3000 Def. This is a sacred beast, Jaden thought nervously. Great Scott, it's enormous. Bastion thought. B. A voice called out from Chaz's deck. Said duelist pulled out and saw a slightly thinned Ohama yellow. T. This thing is D. Draining my energy. Suck it up, said Princeton responded, focusing back on the duel. There's no way anybody can fight against this monster. Cyrus and Chumley yelled. And to think there are still 2 more of these beasts in his deck. Z said. Do you still think they can pull this off? Alexis asked. Holy shit, it's Red Shenron. Naruto said in awe as everyone, even the monsters, looked at him like he was in the highest form of being intoxicated. Quick, somebody bring me the Black Star Dragon Balls. I want a bottomless pit of ramen. Alexis scooted close next to Z before whispering, is it odd I find that kinda cute and funny? Not really. Z said, only to turn her gaze back towards the duel. Kagemaru fumed, how dare you insult the sacred beast? That's a sacred beast? Naruto began. Looks more like Slifer the Sky Dragon's ex-girlfriend. He stated, wiping away any doubt held by Jaden. That's it, I'll kill you first. Kagemaru roared in anger. I'll use activate Yurie's ability and destroy your face-down set card. You wish, because before you activate it I'll activate my face-down the continuous trap card Castle of Dragon Souls. TCH cheeky brat. Fine, I'll use Yurie's effect to destroy Jaden's face-down card, he said as a stream of fire destroyed Jaden's trap. Mirror Gate. Now go Yuria, destroy the impudent boy's wyvern. Another stream of fire engulfed the smaller dragon in a glorious blaze. I'll set 2 cards face down and end my turn. When you send my Eclipse Wyvern to the graveyard, I can remove from play 1 level 7 or higher light or dark dragon type monster from deck, and I choose the level 8 Felgrand Dragon. Jaden 4000. My move and I activate the field spell Skyscraper and Polymerization and fuse my elemental hero Avian, Sparkman and Bubbleman to fusion summon the one and only elemental hero Tempest. She declared as the landscape changed into a city filled with skyscrapers as the three heroes fused into the green-haired and winged hero. When my Tempest attacks a monster with more attack points, he gains 1000 attack points. Elemental Hero Tempest LV8 Warrior 2880 2800 Def plus 100080 equals 3880. Now I switch my Burstinatrix to attack mode. Now go Elemental Raid. She ordered as her monster fired a blue laser and a sphere of fire at the Sacred Beast and its owner and said Sacred Beast was destroyed in an instant. Kagemaru 8000 800 1200 equals 6000. Jaden breathed out slowly at getting rid of the first Sacred Beast. Yugioh, that's all for now. Naruto, you're up. Naruto 4000. Got it. First off, I activate the spell card Double Summon, and I'll use it to summon Bright Star Dragon and the tuner monster Delta Flyer. Naruto said as a white dragon carrying a full moon scythe and a brown dragon built for speed appeared next to one another. I can synchro summon any of my dragons, but only one of them can do me any good right now. I activate Delta Flyer's ability to raise its level by 1 and Bright Star Dragon to raise its level 2. Bright Star Dragon LV 4 to 6 Dragon 1980 0 Def. Delta Flyer LV 3 to 4 Dragon Tuner 1580 900 Def. You've seen XYZ summoning, now you're about to see Synchro summoning. I tune my level 4 Delta Flyer and level 6 Bright Star Dragon. When one monster joins another, a new power is born, one of the Shining Light. I Synchro summoned Recension, the Supreme Sky Dragon. He said as the Delta Flyer turned into rings and wrapped around Bright Star before a light engulfed them both. In their place a large silver and blue Chinese-like dragon with gold trimmings and wing-like attachments on its arms. Please look it up, it's just too awesome to describe in my words alone, and I'm using its Japanese effect. Recension, the Supreme Sky Dragon Synchro Dragon 083,000 Def. Recension's attack points are equal to the amount of cards in my hand and I have 2. Now I activate the second effect of Castle of Dragon Souls and remove from play my Eclipse Wyvern and give my dragon an extra 700 attack points, and because I removed Eclipse Wyvern from the game I can add Felgrand Dragon to my hand. Recension, the Supreme Sky Dragon 3080 plus 700 equals 3700. Now go Star Stream. Naruto ordered as Stardust fired a beautiful colored beam at Kagemaru and took a major chunk of Kagemaru's life points. If anybody had paid attention to Naruto, they would have seen him clutching his left arm in pain. Kagemaru 6000 minus 3700 equals 2300. I set a card face down and end my turn. Recension's attack points returned to 3000. Naruto said as his beast roared to show its dominance. All right, they're winning. Cyrus cheered. Well, not for long. My draw and I, by sending one trap card to the graveyard, I can bring Yugioh back 1000 attack points stronger. He said as Yugioh was resurrected in a tower of flame at 4080. Next I set 3 spell cards face down and send them all to the graveyard to summon Hamon, Lord of Striking Thunder. He said as the 3 spells froze over before flying towards another spire. The spire turned to crystal as a large demon bird-like monster with large pincers and horns appeared as lightning erupted from its very soul. Hamon, Lord of Striking Thunder LV 10 Thunder 4080 4000 Def. Next I replace your field spell with mine, Lost Paradise. He said as the city collapsed only to be replaced by a barren wasteland. This card allows me to draw an extra card for every sacred beast on my field. Now Yugioh destroys your face-down card. Naruto, now go ham and destroy Recension with Imperial Lightning and Yugioh destroy Tempest Hell's Inferno. I activate Tempest's ability and send Burstinatrix to the graveyard to protect Tempest from being destroyed. She said, but you still take the damage. Kagemaru yelled as Naruto's was destroyed in a flash and Tempest survived a storm of fire. And when Hamon destroys a monster, the owner takes 1000 points of damage. Jaden 4000 minus 1200 equals 2800. Naruto 4000 minus 1000 equals 2000. That's all for now, Kagemaru said as Delta Flyer and Bright Star Dragon appeared in a flash of light back on Naruto's field. This is another effect of my dragon. When he is destroyed, he is sent back to my extra deck and the monsters I used to summon him are revived. Naruto explained as Kagemaru growled. You annoying pest, let me show you the power of these beasts. Kagemaru said as the power from the collected dual spirits flowed into him and his body began to grow younger and not to mention stronger. His hair turned brown and his wrinkles disappeared. He then broke out of the glass tubing before tossing the spider-like duel machine about half a mile away. Behold the power of the sacred beasts. B-boss help me, Ohama Yellow said as he began withering away. Quit whining, you big baby. Chaz yelled as he once again turned back towards the duel. Naruto merely raised an eyebrow. Where did you get the loincloth? Hold up, better question, couldn't you just have used some Viagra if you wanted to feel young again? Silence. Complete and utter silence as the former Shadow Rider just insulted the man who wields two sacred beasts and had reversed aged himself by commenting on his life. PPPHHHFT. BWAHAHAHAHA. Everyone laughed, or in Kura and Pharaoh's case snicker. Even the sacred beasts were chuckling as Kagemaru's face grew red in anger and embarrassment before he roared. You brat, I set a card face down and end my turn. Jaden 2800. My move then, the Slifer began. First off, I activate Pot of Greed and draw 2 cards, and I'll play one of them Diffusion and diffuse my Tempest back into Avian, Sparkman and Bubbleman all in defense mode. Then I activate Hero Draw and draw a card for every hero monster in play, and there are 5, so that's 5 cards. Next I activate Metamorphosis and tribute Bubbleman to special summon Neo Bubbleman. She said as a sharper version of Bubbleman appeared in the original's place. Elemental Hero Neo Bubbleman LV4 Warrior 880 1200 Def. I'm equipping him with Bubble Blaster, giving him an 800 attack point boost. Now go destroy Urea. She ordered, much to the shock of everyone else. Is she suicidal? Everyone exclaimed except Naruto. I hope you know what you're doing, J-chan. You've finally given up. Ha, figures Urea counterattack, Kagemaru said as Urea fired off a stream of fire only for it to be extinguished and Urea destroyed with neither side losing life points. Nani? Everyone cried out before Naruto snapped his fingers. Era, I forgot, when Neo Bubbleman battles a monster, that monster is automatically destroyed. Jaden grinned. Yep, and because I equipped him with Bubble Blaster I take no damage as long as I get rid of it, she boasted, puffing her chest out. I set 2 cards face down and end my turn. Pretty risky move. Ya no, Naruto chuckled. Jaden shrugged, that's just the way I duel. Naruto 2000. My draw, and since I have no monsters in the graveyard I can summon Guardian Itos in attack mode and I'll bring back my old friend Drescension in defense mode, Naruto said as he retuned his monsters and the winged blonde-haired woman from earlier flew down to his side. Guardian Itos LV8 Fairy 2580 2000 Def. Drescension 2080 3000 Def. Next I'm going to do something a bit crazy. I'm fusing my trap card Castle of Dragon Souls. Naruto said. What? The gang yelled. You can't fuse trap cards and monsters. Cyrus yelled. Well, with the Fang of Critias I can. I'm merging the two so I can form a new monster, Imperial Soul Dragon. Naruto said as a blackish and purplish dragon with blue crystal on its forehead appeared on the field and gave off a large roar. This power is on par with my sacred beasts, Kagemaru sputtered in disbelief. Critias and the trap card fused into one large dragon made of rock and metal appeared on field as it unfurled a large pair of wings that were a ghostly white. This card is one of the dragons I was chosen by. Problem is I still can't use them all without a slight drawback. Heck, even summoning Drescension and Critias takes a lot of power. Imperial Soul Dragon LV8 Dragon 3480 2800 Def. Due to Imperial Soul Dragon's effect I can remove my Bright Star Dragon and give my Soul Dragon an extra 800 attack points. ISD 3480 plus 800 equals 4280. Now go Soul Rage Shot, Naruto said as his dragon fired a soul white beam through the God of Thunder. Kagemaru 2300 minus 200 equals 2100. It's over, Guardian Itos and Drescension, finish this die, he ordered. Not so fast, I activate Negate Attack and well negate your attack. TCHI set 2 card face down and end my turn. Kagemaru 2100. I activate Resurrection Tribute and destroy Neo Bubbleman and bring back Hammond and discard a trap card to bring back Urea at 5000 attack points. Next I activate the spell card Phantasmal Martyrs to summon 3 phantasmal tokens by discarding 2 cards. He said as Hamon and Yugioh arrived back on the field in their respective elements before 3 ugly-ass blue demon tokens appeared on his field. Hamon LV10 Thunder 4000 ADIC 4000 Def. Yugioh LV10 Pyro 5000 ADIC 5000 Def. Phantasmal tokens LV1 Fiend 0 ADIC 0 Def x3. Now I bring out the final beast. By sacrificing my 3 tokens I summon Rayus Lord of Phantasms. He finished as a giant and more ugly version of the tokens appeared from the final pillar. Rayus Lord of Phantasms LV10 Fiend 4000 ADIC 4000 Def. Ohama Yellow. Chaz cried as his subordinate was all bone. What's going on? Alexis asked. Hundreds of dual spirits floated toward Rayus before being absorbed. Even their own cards began to turn blank. I activate the spell card Deity's Strike and inflict piercing damage. Now go my monsters. Kagemaru ordered. I activate half Unbreak and Damage Diet from my graveyard, cutting the damage into 4 and no monster can be destroyed by battle, Naruto said. No matter, I'll finish you both next turn. Rayus attack Avian, Yugioh attack Guardian Itos and Hamon attack Avian as well. He ordered as the 3 beasts launched their own signature attack and dealt a crippling blow towards the duo. Jaden 2800-750 750 equals 1300. Naruto 2000-625 equals 1375. There won't be a next turn for you, Jaden said as she drew Banner's card, the Philosopher's Stone. She then saw a strange little light escape from Pharaoh's mouth and float towards her, before a very familiar voice spoke to both duelists. Jaden, Naruto, you must listen to me. Banner's soul began. You must work together to finish him off. Good luck. You heard the floating spirit Jay. Let's finish this old man, Naruto declared as he began to radiate a bursting purple and crimson aura. Naruto raised his hand and lightly flicked her forehead. That's mine line ya no, he said as the top card of Naruto's deck glowed a bright purple, as did a card in extra deck holder. His extra deck opened before a golden card flew into Jaden's hand. This card, it's beautiful, she said before smiling. A devil, it's over Kagemaru. First off, I pay half my life points to activate use Philosopher's Stone, and for my first card I pick is Hero's Hotline, which allows me to add 2 elemental hero Bubbleman and claim into my hand. Jaden 1300-650 equals 650. Next I activate the card as Miracle Fusion, and I'm making the strongest hero out there, so I fusing my elemental hero Avian, Burstinatrix, Clayman, and Bubbleman to call out elemental hero Electrum. But I got one more philosopher counter, so I'm using the card as Monster Reborn to bring back elemental hero Flame Wingman, and then I'm using my face down card as Asterisk Elemental Level, which changes my Sparkman to a level 6. Why, you ask? It's so I can overlay these 2 together to XYZ summon elemental hero Lady Shining Hope, she declared as her 2 heroes flew into a portal before it exploded. A white long-haired female teen with blue eyes and white wings appeared on the field. Her outfit consisted of a skin-tight golden uniform that reached all the way down her shapely legs. The top left her shoulders bare, leaving a bit cleavage open, as well as 2 elbow-length gloves. Elemental Hero Lady Shining Hope R6 Warrior 2880 1800 Def. Jaden 650-325 equals 325 minus 112.5 equals 112.5. Cyrus, like many of the other males, had a mild blush on their face. Wow, she's cute. When she's summoned I can remove a hero monster and I choose a hero Wildheart from my deck. She also gains 280 for every hero removed play, and by my count there's 5. E-Hero Lady Shining Hope 2880 minus 3880. Fine, but I gained 2 Fiend tokens since you summoned a monster. Doesn't matter, I activate the last effect of Philosopher's Stone and equip it onto Electrum, whose attack points multiply by 5 since you have 5 monsters on your field. Electrum 2900 plus 2900 plus 2900 plus 2900 plus 2900 equals 14,500. What? 14,500 attack points? Kagemaru yelled. Now go Electrum, destroy Rayus, she declared before Kagemaru laughed in response. I activate the trap card known as God's Shield, which fires your own attack right back at you and switches one of my beasts to defense mode at the cost of half my life points. Kagemaru 3500 minus 1750 equals 1750. Jaden chuckled. Wrong again, old man. I remove an overlay unit from Shining Hope to negate an attack, and then she gains attack points equal to the negated monster, she said as Shining Hope's attack points jumped up to 18,300. Now destroy Raviel with ultimate radiant burst, she declared as her monster shot a single finger beam towards Raviel before it diverted to Hammon. You cannot attack any other monster when Hammon is in defense mode, and I take no other damage this turn. Naruto 1350. My move then, I fuse my Drescension with the Claw of Hermos, another 1N special dragons to form the Blazing Sky Sword, and I'll equip it to Itos, he said as Drescension fused with a reddish dragon with a single horn on its snout in front of its yellow eyes as they changed into a clear blue longsword with engravings written along the side. The Blazing Sky Sword allows me to combine the attack points of all the monsters on my side and on my partner's side of the field, but no other monster can attack. Guardian Itos 2500 plus 3400 plus 14500 plus 18300 equals 38,700 attack points. Guardian Itos end this with the Book of End / he ordered as his Guardian sliced clean through Raviel. Kagemaru 2100 minus 38,700 equals a lot more than 0. No, Kagemaru yelled as he was knocked back off his feet and into the ground. Duel end winner Naruto and Jaden. Naruto stares disbelievingly. We1. Alright, he yells before he had to catch Jaden's flying hug tackle. Soon the gang runs over to the victors as they cheered before a cough from Kagemaru's old form gains their attention as they walk over. All I wanted was to live my life in my prime for the rest of my life, Kagemaru stated as Naruto interrupted. It's not uncommon to fear death, ya know? But you gotta realize something. Growing old is something everyone has to go through, it's a part of life. We grow old and guess what, we die, but if you spend with those that care for you, then it shouldn't really that scary. Come on, time to get up, Naruto stated as he offered a hand to the downed mastermind. But I tried to kill you. So did like 37 other wannabe bad guys, but they all fell before my might. Bwahaha. Naruto laughed as the other's sweat dropped a bit before Jaden held out her hand as well. As silly as he may be, he's right, come on Gramps, she stated as they helped Kagemaru up only for Jaden to hug him too tightly and break his fragile back and had his helicopter carry him away on a stretcher. Alright, let's go home, Shepard said as everyone began walking back to the academy. Naruto stayed there a moment longer as he looked towards the sky for a second, before a feminine hand turned him around before he felt a pair of lips kiss his whiskered cheek that was soon followed up by another two, one on each cheek. He turned around with a large blush and saw Jaden, Z, and Alexis standing around with coy smiles, before Z commented, "That was pretty sweet, and from your face I guess so was that." His brain overloaded and passed out as Kura jumped on his stomach and decided to snuggle with her father figure, getting a light giggle from the girls. "You did well today, Naru-kun, even if I didn't get battle with Timors," Mana said from the air next to an exhausted Itos. "Come on Nei-chan, let's go." Interesting, a cloaked figure standing in the sky began. He was able to control a dual dragon as well as two of the legendary dragons. "Naruto Uzumaki, you will make an excellent husband." On the roof of Duel Academy 1, Naruto Uzumaki stared at the rising sun with an amused smile as he thought about his short time at the academy. If he was telling the truth, the time he spent here has actually been the best week of his life. He met skilled duelists that later became his friends, even 3 equally cute girls. Principal Shepard actually made him an offer to come to Duel Academy next year, but he still didn't know whether or not he would accept. He didn't want the nation coming after him, and with that last stunt he pulled they would definitely be coming after him. Before he could finish his thoughts, his crimson fox licked his cheek with a happily wagging tail and began yipping in pure excitement. "Alright Kura. Ready 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0 and..." Naruto delayed as loud boom was heard across the island. "Aye!" A girlish scream rang across the island. "And boom goes the dynamite. Ah, such sweet music to my ears," Naruto chuckled as did his fox. "Giggle, you sure are enjoying it here at Duel Academy, aren't you Nana-kun?" the dark magician girl asked as she sat next to the whiskered blonde and pulled Kura into her lap and began petting the fox. The only thing that was different was that she wasn't wearing her hat, letting all of her blonde hair be seen. Naruto fell on his back and looked up at the clouds in the sky. It's not too bad, plenty of nice people, good food, and most importantly so many people to prank. Naruto chuckled evilly as group of male students fled the girls' dorm covered in feathers. Especially the perverts. Don't forget about the cute girls, Mana added in. And the cute wait, dark magician girl, say what? The magician giggled. You heard me, Nana-kun, you think the girls on this island are cute. Especially those two obelisk females and the Slifer female. I have no idea what you're talking about, Naruto stuttered, much to the blonde magician's amusement. Come on, you can tell me. Is it the short skirt that attracts you? She asked, slightly lifting up her really short skirt to the side, getting a stutter from a very red-faced Naruto. Or is my Nana-kun more of a breast man? She asked, pulling her shirt just enough so he could catch a glimpse of her C-cup cleavage, getting the blonde duelist to blush as red as a tomato and completely freeze up, getting another chuckle from the blue-eyed magician. Pervert, Naruto whispered before he felt something claw at his jacket. He looked down to see an orange and black striped kitten with seafoam green eyes and two tails trying to climb onto his shoulder. Hey Nekomasumi, you done with your pranking? He asked, picking up the kitten and sitting her on his shoulder, only for the kitten to climb from his shoulder to his head. Mana gave a warm smile. I still remember the day we met. As do I, a new voice interjects as the two blondes turn towards the source, revealing a now fully healed guardian Itos sitting next to the pair. Are you okay, Aya-chan? I was afraid I had pushed you too hard? Naruto said, giving her a one-armed hug. I am fine, and Naruto-sama. She stuttered with a light pink dusting across her cheek, only to get flicked in the head and get a light scolding from the crimson-haired blonde about being called Sama. Naruto, do you remember the day we first met? The magician asked. Naruto chuckled before he smiled a somewhat warm smile. Of course I do. After all, it was the day I gained 2 more members to my family. Flashback. A small 7-year-old Naruto was swinging by himself in an empty park, looking quite happy for some reason. This Naruto only had blonde hair and both of his eyes were blue, and the only marks on his face were the 3 whisker marks on each of his cheeks. The reason was because he wasn't really alone. You see, the city of Konoha was filled with dual spirits, including his own Ghostrick cards, and he can see them quite easily. His own monsters were all over the park, either causing chaos or just chilling out. Only Ghostrick Yuki Onna and Ghostrick Werewolf W were by his side. Hey look, it's the freak, a childlike voice sneered. Naruto looked towards the source only to see the famous child prodigy, Sasuke Uchiha, and his gang of fangirls. Sasuke Uchiha was a pompous child who had been given everything he ever wanted as a child, born to the CEO of the Uchiha Corporation, and treated everyone else as dirt. When you had something he wanted, he just took or told his father, and then your family would pay the price for it. The little black-haired kid was a real jackass if you asked Naruto. Naruto merely closed his eyes and continued to swing, even as Ghostrick Werewolf growled as the arrogant child strode forward, looking all high and mighty. Give me your cards, Sasuke demanded, as he and everyone else in the city knew of the blonde's one-of-a-kind cards. As far as anyone knew, Naruto was the only person to have any Ghostrick cards whatsoever. So why shouldn't an almighty elite like him have those rare cards instead of a worthless orphan who probably doesn't even know how to use them? Blue eyes opened in the request, only to stare at the Uchiha, showing no emotion in his eye before he pulled down his eyelid and wiggled his tongue at the other kids. He closes them and pulls in his tongue as he continues to swing. No. Sasuke fumed. How dare you deny me an elite like me? That freak should be honored to have an Uchiha claim his cards. Yeah, how dare you deny Sasuke-kun? His fangirl group yelled unison. I'm not denying an elite, I'm denying you, Naruto stated. Why you? Sasuke growled. Duel me, if when I win I get your Ghostrick cards. Before Naruto once again refused, his eyes widened as he saw 2 spirits appeared behind Sasuke, both female blondes. One was obviously a magician dressed in a skimpy blue outfit that actually looked cute instead of Y. Her bust was a mid-C, which was completely ignored by the child as his eyes were focused on her blue eyes. The other was dressed in a tribal Indian outfit that exposed her toned midriff and complemented her slightly larger bust. Overall she looked quite beautiful, as did her brown eyes. They looked quite sad actually, and the aura they radiated just screamed for someone to end it before their eyes locked onto his form and a look of curiosity replaced their looks of sadness. Naruto sighed before looking towards his two monsters, silently asking for permission, and when they nodded he whistled. All throughout the park the tricksters narrowed their eyes before flying, floating, running or swimming to their master. This was going to be fun. Around a minute later both children were ready to brawl, before Naruto asked out of pure curiosity, "What will you do to my cards if you do somehow manage to win?" Sasuke smirked, "I'll mass-produce my cards and then make some improvements to them for myself in new cards before burning the originals." Naruto froze before he began to imagine his friends being burned just so no one else could have them. It made him so it really ticked him off. He growled as his right eye turned red and his hair gained a slight crimson sheen on eye. "I'll finish this in 3 turns." He muttered barely above a whisper. Duel start. Naruto 4000, Sasuke 4000. "I'll go first," Naruto said as he drew a card. "First off I set 1 monster face down and throw 3 cards face downs and end my turn." Sasuke 4000. "Pathetic," Sasuke sneered, "let me show you a real turn. Since there are no monsters in my graveyard I can special summon Guardian Itos in attack mode." The Indian tribe-like woman appeared in a swarm of feathers as she took his place on his field. Guardian Itos LV8 Fairy 2580 2000 Def. I'm not done because next up I summon Horus the Black Flame Dragon LV4. He finished as a silver chicken-like dragon appeared in a flame. Horus the Black Flame Dragon LV4 Dragon 1680 1000 Def. "Now go my monsters, destroy that trash," he ordered as his monsters rushed to attack the crimson and blonde-haired boy who was completely calm. I activate M-Trap card Ghostrick Possession. It's a powerful trap card that allows me to take 1 monster on your side of the field when you attack a face-down monster on my field. As long as this card is face-up, Guardian Itos is in my possession. He said his Guardian Itos was encased in a purple and white force and soon floated over to the non-jackass's side. Sasuke growled, "Doesn't matter, my Horus will still destroy your face-down monster." "No you won't." I activate my second trap card Ghostrick or Treat. This trap card switches your attack to my Guardian Itos instead. He said as Itos quickly cleaved through the Egyptian dragon. Sasuke 4000 minus 900 equals 3100. I set 2 cards face down and end my turn. Naruto 4000. My turn. Naruto began only to be interrupted by Sasuke, who activated the magic card Scapegoat, giving him 4 tokens. Naruto continued with a low grow. I flip summon Ghostrick Mummy, and because I did I can activate its ability to grab an extra summon for this turn. I summon Ghostrick Werewolf and Ghostrick Stein. A blue-eyed werewolf with light brown fur and a blue-skinned Frankenstein appeared next to one another. Ghostrick Werewolf LV3 Zombie 1480 1500 Def. Ghostrick Stein LV3 Zombie 1680 0 Def. "Thank you," a female voice spoke to Naruto, and when said Crimson Blonde looked around for the source only to see the monster known as Itos looking towards his form with a sincere smile on her face. "I need your assistance for a little while longer. I beg you, please save mana. I will do whatever it takes, please." Naruto nodded in response. "Go my friends, take out his tokens in 1 shot," he ordered as his monsters destroyed those tokens fairly quickly. "During my turn I can flip my Ghostrick monsters into face-down defense mode. That's all, I end my turn." Sasuke 3100. I activate my trap card Vengeance Summon. When you destroy monsters on my side of the field I can summon an equal amount to the number of monsters you destroyed on your last turn at the cost of half my life points, negating their abilities and my normal summon for this turn. Sasuke 3100 minus 1550 equals 1550. I summon from my deck Tyrant Dragon, Horus the Black Flame Dragon LV6, Dark Magician Girl and Dark Storm Dragon. He said as an orange-skinned dragon with a green gem on its forehead. A flying silver dragon. The other cute blonde girl from earlier and a 2-winged black dragon with its lower half wrapped in a tornado appeared in a crimson-black aura. Tyrant Dragon LV8 Dragon 2980 2500 Def. Horus the Black Flame LV6 Dragon 2380 1600 Def. Dark Magician Girl LV6 Spellcaster 2080 1700 Def. Darkstorm Dragon LV8 Dragon 2780 2500 Def. Mana, Itos said as the dark magician girl looked up and smiled brightly at the guardian monster. Now go my beasts. Tyrant Dragon attack that traitorous guardian Itos, Darkstorm attack that werewolf, Horus attack mummy and dark magician girl attack that Frankenstein. He ordered as each creature charged up an attack. Alright, go Sasuke-kun? His fangirls roared in amazement as their Sasuke was about to destroy this loser. I activate my third trap card negate attack to block your attack and end your battle phase. Naruto said. TCHI end my turn. Sasuke said. Why don't you just give up? There's no possible way you could win. Naruto 4000. Naruto just stared at the self-proclaimed prodigy, because you said you would burn my cards and that really pissed me off. My draw and I activate the spell card Change of Heart which allows me to take control of one of your monsters. No, my tyrant dragon. Sasuke yelled with actual worry on his voice until his dark magician girl moved over to Naruto's side. I don't want your tyrant dragon, so I'll take your dark magician girl instead. Naruto stated. Sasuke just looked at Naruto like he had lost his damn mind until he started laughing, ha 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 ha. Not only are you a freak, but now you're also an idiot. He yelled as did his fangirls who all just wouldn't shut the hell up. Thank you, dark magician girl muttered as she looked towards the blonde child. Mata Dane, it's still my move, it's the third and final turn, Naruto stated. I flip summon Ghostrick werewolf whose effect allows me to inflict you with 100 points of damage for every set card and currently there are 2. Sasuke 1550 minus 200 equals 1350. Next I'll flip Ghostrick Mummy and Ghostrick Stein and then I'll overlay my level 3 Ghostrick Stein, my level 3 Ghostrick Mummy and my level 3 Ghostrick Werewolf to XYZ summon Ghostrick Prince. He said as his 3 zombie monsters turned different shades of purple and vanished into a black portal at Naruto's feet. Out of the portal appeared a black-haired teen male with his hair down to his shoulders wearing a very pretty blue kimono and a golden crown. He would be a normal boy if it weren't for the large purple bat wings located on his back as he glared at the dragon monsters with dark red eyes. Ghostrick Princess R3 Zombie 2180 1500 Def. I activate one of his effects. By removing an overlay unit I can flip all your monsters face down for this turn. He said all of Sasuke's cards were flipped face down. Next up I'm activating the field spell Ghostrick Mansion. This field spell allows me to bypass your monsters if they're all face down. Now please finish this you 3. He ordered as his 3 monsters just wiped away the rest of Sasuke's life points and sent the boy flying from the field. Sasuke 1350 minus 1000 minus 1250 minus 2100 equals 0. Sasuke was blown into a tree and fell into unconsciousness as his fangirls crowded around him. All of his cards were thrown into the air. Naruto raised his hand and plucked Guardian Itos and Dark Magician Girl from the sky. I wonder if I should let them rape him. Naruto wondered before the 2 blonde females appeared before him on one knee. Please don't bow, you're free to do whatever you want. Mana began, can we join you instead? She said with a puppy dog eyes getting the boy to fold in mere seconds. Itos continued, we believe it would be better for us and you to join forces. Fine. But I swear call me Sama, I'll bop you on the head. He said with a childlike glare that turned into a full-blown blush as the each female blonde placed a kiss on each of the blonde's whiskered cheeks. We have such a cute master, right Itos? Mana said. That we do Mana. Flashback end. Mana chuckled as Naruto gained a red hue across his face. I'm guessing that's a yes, she stated as the bell for Duel Academy rang across the island. Naruto hopped to his feet before he picked up the sleeping fox kit from the now pouting dark magician girl and cradled her like a baby. Time to go. Shepard wanted to know my decision when school class started. What are you going to do? Mana asked with a hint of worry in her tone that was shared by Itos. Naruto chuckled, I think I'm going to need a pair of rubber chickens. A bucket of tar, lots of butter, about 24 pairs of rubber gloves, a plunger, a few sets of golf clubs. Don't forget about the condoms and birth control, Mana added in. Right, condoms and BBB birth control? Naruto yelled as his face grew red as a tomato and he stumbled out the door getting a very loud laugh from the female magician. Please stop making such lecherous comments Mana, Itos chastened. But he's such a cute but oblivious boy, it's too much fun. He has a lot to learn if he wants to achieve his dream, Mana said before a lecherous grin appeared on her cute face as she vanished and reappeared behind Ito's, and her hands went up inside Ito's shirt as Ito's blushed heavily with wide eyes. Especially if these other girls all want a piece of that nice tanned blonde Adonis ass. Mana. In the office of Chancellor Shepard. Alright Z, since you have the highest markings and retained the highest ranking, you may choose any opponent for your final duel at this academy, Shepard said. Whether you win or lose, you will still be one of the best duelists we have ever had the honor to teach. He finished as the Cyber Dragon user bowed to her teacher. Thank you, Chancellor Shepard, she replied as she raised her head and crossed her arms under her covered low D-cup breasts, enhancing their size by habit. Am I allowed to choose any opponent as long as they're on the island? I think I know where you're going with this, Shepard began. Alright, I approve, and it will take place at noon today, and as much as I don't want to, I think you are strong enough to have the rest of the Cyber Legacy, but only after the duel. He finished, getting a surprised look from the Cyber Dragon user. Z bowed once again. Thank you Shepard sensei. Thank you for being a wonderful student, and by the way, don't forget to find a good boyfriend, or did you already find a candidate? Shepard chuckled as Z uncharacteristically blushed and hurried out the door, only to bump into the blonde ex-Shadow Rider and get knocked to the ground. My bad Z-chan, Naruto apologized as he pulled the obelisk blue female up, but he overestimated how much strength to use and accidentally pulled her into his 5'8" slightly taller lean form. Said female stuck her hands out and pushed off the cute blonde about 2 seconds after landing on his chest. Don't worry about it, she said, basically running out of the office with a slight pink dusting across her cheeks. Naruto tilted his head to the side. I wonder if she's okay, she looked a bit red. Shepard just face-palmed and dabbed his forehead with his pocket hanky. Come in, Naruto-kun. How are you doing? He asked as the blonde sat down and just chuckled evilly. I'm doing just fine. This is a really nice school you got here, Naruto said, leaning back in his seat until his senses went haywire. He then jumped onto the ceiling holding Kura and Nekomasumi and stayed there as the office door slid open and a very funny and strange sight ran through his door. It was Professor Crowler, but he was covered in red chicken feathers complete with an orange face, and a yellow set of tail feathers. Where is He? Where is that tricky little boy? Crowler yelled as he began stomping around looking for the blonde prankster he knew was responsible for this heinous crime. I know you can hear me, and I swear when I find you, you will wish you would have never been born, you brat. The Chancellor tried to stifle his laugh until it came out as a full-blown laugh as he laughed right out his boss chair. Bawahahahaha. Oh raw, I can't take it, he said as Crowler stomped out the office in a rage looking for the foxy duelist. Such an easy target, the heterochrome blonde said as he fell from the ceiling and landed back in the chair like a boss. So what did you call me in here for, Chancellor? Shepard lifted himself back into his chair, still laughing. I would like to know your answer to coming to Duel Academy next year, so will you consider it? He asked. What the two didn't know was that outside the door a familiar gang of students listening in on their conversation. Outside the door. Hey, move over, I want to hear what they're saying, an obelisk blue female whispered. Shut up, I can't hear when you're talking. This time a yellow raw whispered as she and the rest of the group of female students pressed their ears into the wall trying to listen in on the stud on campus's conversation until. What are you doing? SSSSHHHH. We're trying to listen in on the conversation between Shepard and the hot new guy. Jaden tilted her head to the side. Hot new guy? Yeah, a really cute blonde boy with 3 whisker-like marks and has a pair of heterochrome eyes. The same obelisk blue from earlier began. His left eye is a gentle ocean blue while his right eye is a striking crimson red, and on top of it he's just so dreamy. So you mean Naruto, Alexis Rhodes said with a bit more steel in voice than normal. Why don't we just leave him alone, so he can have his conversation with Chancellor Shepard in peace, right Jaden? Jaden? She asked, no longer seeing the lovable brown-haired girl beside her. Said Slifer Red was pressing her ear on the wall attempting to listen in on her fellow blonde's conversation. Oh, come off it, Lex. You know you want to hear this too. Jaden said with a smile as she patted the spot next to her. Alexis sulked for a moment before she took the spot next to Jaden. Fine, but only because of my curiosity, she grumbled as she pressed her ear to the door as well. So let me get this straight, Shepard said with a completely serious expression. You fled your home due to prejudice, and set off what might be the greatest prank in history while managing to piss off many people and avoid a yandere hell-bent on having your child and you wrapped around her finger. Is that all? He asked with a small sweat drop. Naruto counted on his fingers. Let's see, I planted a red paint bomb in the pipes of the villages. Sprayed the compounds with dog pheromones. Anything else I'm forgetting, Kura? He asked his crimson fox, getting a few yips in response. Oh yeah, I forgot about the laxatives in the brownies. Massaging his temples, the chancellor laughed bitterly. I don't know whether to fear the safety of my students or give you a badge for the head of the new disciplinary squad I'm starting next year. Naruto raised an eyebrow. I think both would be appropriate, but do you really want me at your school? He said as his tone became serious. Wherever I go, chaos will ensue, and I'm positive your school won't be any different. Shepard smirked in response. Trust me boy, it's no trouble whatsoever. Our students are strong enough to fight against any impending threat. Plus I think it will do you some good to stop having to look over your shoulder anymore and actually enjoy being a teenager. Alright old man, I'll come to Duel Academy next year, Naruto said as he could have sworn he heard multiple squeals very close by. For the summer I'll be in the Synchro country and the XYZ country visiting my family's old stomping ground for a while. I hope you will be safe, and please be in the duel arena at noon today for a special event today, Shepard said with an underlining smirk. Alright, Naruto said with a quick shrug before he and his two furry companions walked out the office with a small snicker, until he saw a large group of females running down the hall away from Shepard's office. That's strange. The two animals could only stare at their caretaker with something akin to annoyance for him and worry for any girls attempting to get with him and mate. I can't believe it's such a hot guy as an incoming second year. An obelisk blue squealed, as did her companions. Oh chill out girls, Alexis began. Just because he's cute doesn't mean he will be looking for a girlfriend, in fact he might already have one. She said with a slight gleam of sadness in her brown eyes, until Jaden placed a hand on her shoulder. I'm not so sure Lex, I could see something in his eyes during his duel with me but at the time I couldn't place it, but now I recognize it, it's loneliness, she stated with a small frown. I mean what kind of friend let alone girlfriend would leave a nice guy like him alone? I can't even see why he's cute, nice and has a spark I have never seen before that just wants to make me I mean he's just so nice and cute. She finished waving her hands in front of her tomato red face as Alexis gave her an all-knowing smirk. Oh my. Mindy, the black-haired obelisk blue friend of Alexis, chuckled along with the obelisk blue red-haired Jasmine. It seems our two non-boy crazed girls have finally found a target for their hormones. Shut up. Alexis yelled as she stomped towards the duel arena that was closely followed by a still tomato-red Jaden. The students of Duel Academy sat in the seats of the arena eagerly awaiting the last announcement Chancellor Shepard has to make for this semester. Said Chancellor walked through the shadowed hallway followed by a still orange chicken Professor Crowler and Z Trusdale. In the stands Jaden was looking around. Has anybody seen Naruto? She asked with a hint of worry. The rest of the gang looked around for their favorite, besides Bastion, Shadow Rider, only to spot the two-tailed Crimson Fox. Kura walking along the railing over to them before she jumped into Alexis's arms and began licking her face. Lucky Fox, Chaz muttered as the fox continued to lick Alexis's face, only for the fox to stop and freaking smirk at him and then continue to lick his crush's face. That flea-ridden furball, he thought. Hey Kura. Where's your owner? She asked lightly, scratching beneath the fox's muzzle. Said fox pointed one of her tails towards the seats Crowler and Shepard always sat in. Alright students, I present to you our number one student Z Trusdale. He declared as the spotlight shined on the strongest obelisk blue. Now since she has the highest marks she is allowed to challenge any duelist on the island. This is the graduation duel. Now Ms. Trusdale, please pick your opponent. Shepard finished as he handed the mic over to Z Trusdale. Thank you Chancellor Shepard, it has truly been an honor to be a student here at Duel Academy, she began. I will always treasure the friendships I have made here and I hope you will all do the same. My opponent was a very difficult choice, but I'm positive my choice will influence you all to become better duelists. Cyrus couldn't help but wonder who his sister would call out. I think she's going to call Jaden. No way, she's probably going to call on the Chaz. The Chaz yelled in protest. No way, it's going to be Jaden. Chumley responded. Hey Alexis, how much you want to bet she's going to pick Naruto-kun? Jaden asked, leaning over the railing. Alexis snorted a bit as she continued to pet the excited Kura. Oh please, I don't take suckers bets. My opponent for this duel is the chaotic fox Naruto Uzumaki, she declared. Yes? Holy shit, she yelled as her opponent literally appeared behind her within a split second, and with the microphone still in her hand her voice rang across the entire island. "WW, where the hell did you come from?" she said, breathing quite heavily. Naruto cutely tilted his head to the side, gaining many squeals from the female populace. "Didn't we already have this conversation in the forest?" Z just leveled him a soul-piercing glare that did nothing to the still upbeat crimson-banged blonde. "We're dueling right now," she ordered. "Why?" "Because I said so," she said. "Why should I listen to you?" "Because I'm older." "Big deal. Let me ask another question, what's in it for me?" Z actually pondered this for a second before she smirked somewhat evilly. "When you get a surprise at the end of the duel and I won't kick you in the balls." Naruto immediately began nodding with a pale face and his hands covering his crotch. "Good, now get ready to duel," she said as Naruto's arm was encased in a purple and black energy and his purple and black duel disc appeared. "Cyrus, I think your sister really is a sadist," Bastion said, covering his crotch. "I hate to say I told you so. Wait, no I don't, I goddamn told you so." Duel start. Z 4000. Naruto 4000. "Ladies first," Z said. "I activate polymerization and fuse my 3 cyber dragons together to fusion summon Cyber End Dragon," she said as her 3 mechanical dragons fused into the one and only very large 3-headed cyber dragon, the Cyber End Dragon. Cyber End Dragon LV10 Machine 4080 2800 Def. Next I'm activating card from a different dimension and then remove a card from play. Then it comes back to me during my next standby phase. I set 1 card face down and that's all for now." Naruto 4000. "Wow, busting out the big guns already, I'm impressed," Naruto said, getting Z to slightly puff up her chest at the compliment. "My draw, and first off I'm activating double summon to set and then flip summon Ghostrick Mummy, and when I flip summon a monster I can activate Ghostrick Panic Rush to special summon Ghostrick Witch, and the extra normal summon I get from Mummy to summon Ghostrick Jiangshi from my hand. Then I'll set a card face down," he said as everyone's favorite Mummy appeared in a swirl of bandages, followed by a small blonde-haired witch and a child with a literal white face and a tag on his forehead appeared next. Ghostrick Mummy LV3 Zombie 1580 0 Def. Ghostrick Witch LV2 Spellcaster 1280 200 Def. Ghostrick Jiangshi LV3 Zombie 480 1800 Def. Next I activate Ghostrick Witch's effect to flip your Cyber End Dragon face down, he said as the small witch casted a spell and flipped Z's strongest monster face down. "And then I'll overlay my level 3 Ghostrick Mummy with my level 3 Ghostrick Jiangshi to XYZ summon Ghostrick Alucard," he said as the white-skinned figure in regal clothing appeared in a swarm of bats. Ghostrick Alucard rank 3 Zombie 1880 1600 Def. By removing an overlay unit your set Cyber End Dragon is destroyed. He began as her strongest monster was easily destroyed. Now go my 2 Ghostricks, time to dish out some damage. The 2 monsters tag-teamed and basically Witch pushed Z over Alucard's back. Z4000 minus 1800 minus 1200 equals 1000. I'll flip my Ghostrick Witch face down and that's all for now, turn end. Z1000. And not bad at all. I draw and the card I removed from play due to card from a different dimension returns back to my hand, she said with a light grin at the level of play this guy had. First up I activate Pot of Greed and draw 2 cards. I activate my face down Call of the Haunted and bring back my Cyber End Dragon, she said as she revived the mighty mechanized beast. Now go Cybernetic Blast, she declared. Not so fast, I activate my trap card Ghostrick Scare. Naruto countered as his trap card glowed. This trap allows me to flip my Ghostrick Witch into face-up defense mode and your Cyber Dragon back face down. Nice try, but I activate the spell card Diffusion from my hand and send Cyber End Dragon back to my extra deck and summon the 3 Cyber Dragons used to make it form the graveyard onto my field. Cyber Dragon LV5 Machine 2180 1600 Def X3. Well shit, Naruto said, lightly sweating at being stared down by 3 mechanical dragons. Now go my 3 Cyber Dragons Cybernetic Stream, she said as each of Naruto's monsters were taken out by 2 of the Cyber Dragons and the final launched a direct attack at him. Naruto 4000-300-2100 equals 1600. Due to the effect of Ghostrick a la carte, I can return one Ghostrick card back to my hand, Naruto said as his life points drop quite quickly. I set one card face down and end my turn. Naruto 1600. My draw, and I'll activate my own Pot of Greed and draw two cards. I'll activate the spell card Ghost Playback to bring back Ghostrick Witch and Ghostrick Mummy back from my graveyard at the cost of 500 life points each. He said as his two Trickster were reborn back onto his field and his life points took another major hit. Naruto 1600-1000 equals 600. As you know, I'm allowed an extra summon as long as the summoned monster is a Ghostrick, and I think I'll summon Ghostrick Mary and Ghostrick Yukioh. He said as the Lolita in the mirror appeared next to a small white-haired girl dressed in a white kimono and purple obi. I'll overlay my level 2 Yukioh with my level 2 Witch to XYZ summon Ghostrick Succubus. He said as his two spellcasters changed into energy and flew into a portal. Out of the portal appeared a very pretty red-haired female with two large batwings dressed in nothing but a pair of pantyhose and a bra carrying a pillow. Ghostrick Mary LV1 Fiend 180 1600 Def. Ghostrick Yukioh LV2 Spellcaster 1080 800 Def. Ghostrick Succubus Rank 2 Spellcaster 1480 1200 Def. I now activate Succubus's effect and destroy one monster on your side of the field as long as it has less attack than combined attack of all the Ghostrick monsters on my side of the field, he said as one of Z's Cyber Dragons was destroyed. Next up, since I destroyed one of your monsters with an effect of a Ghostrick monster, I can activate the trap card G Dominoes. You destroy all monsters on your field or in your deck with the same name, then you take 300 points of damage for every card sent to your grave. He said as Succubus destroyed Cyber Dragon with her pillow? No, seriously, she just threw the pillow at Cyber Dragon and poof, bye bye Cyber Dragons. That was soon followed by ghost spirits surrounding her other Cyber Dragons before they too were destroyed. Z 1000-900 equals 100. I activate my trap card Return Soul to return my 3 Cyber Dragons back to my deck, Z said with a wild gleam in her eyes. Not bad at all. Good thing for you I can't activate my battle phase this turn due to G Dominoes. That's all for now with a set card. Z 100. Z just stood with her eyes shadowed as her body began trembling. Ha. She laughed, as did Naruto, because as you know, laughter is infectious as hell unless you're dealing with some psycho bitch or asshole. Cyrus began quivering in fear, and when asked why, all they could hear was, "No, I'll be good, just don't bring Mr. Twinkles anymore." Somewhere far away. Achoo. Who dares to speak about the great Uchiha? Ah, shut up, you prick. Back at Duel Academy. I don't think I've ever had this much fun in a duel. She said as the gleam in her eyes grew larger. It's my move, and I activate the spell card Future Fusion to fusion summon from my deck Cyber End Dragon. She said as 2 of her Cyber Dragons merged into her ultimate Cyber Dragon. Cyber End Dragon LV 10-4000-80 2800 Def. Ya know, I'm really starting to get sick of that card, Naruto complained as Z just stared at him with mirth and something he couldn't pinpoint in her eyes, tapping on that last card in her hand. In the stands. So cool, they just keep going back and forth. Man, oh man, now I want to duel. Jaden said on the edge of her seat. Bet I could have done better, Chaz sulked. Cyrus just laughed nervously. Yeah right. Back to the duel. Lucky for you, Cyber End Dragon can't attack on the turn he's summoned, so I'll throw down a face down and end my turn. Naruto 600. Alright then, let's kick this into high gear. I activate the card Ghostrick Mix and Match. It allows me to fusion summon one monster from my extra deck, so by sending Ghostrick Succubus, Ghostrick Mummy, Ghostrick Mary and the Ghostrick Skeleton in my hand to fusion summon the first goddess Ghostrick Shinigami. He said as the 4 Ghostricks merged to form a silver-haired woman in her early 20s. She was dressed in a silver cloak with a large 3-bladed scythe attached to her hand. Her purple eyes were filled with a mixed hint of curiosity and amusement. Just imagine Sodo no Shirayuki. She then turned towards the blonde teen before glomping him and rubbing his head with her cheek and effectively smothering his face into her magnificent bust, much to the ire of the boys and girls of Duel Academy. Ghostrick Shinigami LV9 Divine 3380 3300 Def. After Naruto had gotten the giggling goddess off, he grinned manically. You see, the requirement for Shinigami is one or more Ghostrick monsters plus Ghostrick skeleton. When you use 3 other monsters for the fusion like I did, her ability changes. She can absorb the level and rank of the monsters used to summon her and add them to her own attack points x 200. She also no longer affected by spell cards. Ghostrick Shinigami 3300 plus 1800 equals 5100. Amazing, the students cried out in passion. Now go attack Cyber End Dragon and end this duel. He ordered as Shinigami brought her scythe down on Cyber End Dragon. Not so fast, I activate the spell card Battle Fusion, increasing my monster's attack points by the total of your monster's attack. Z countered as her Cyber Dragon almost doubled in size. Cyber End Dragon 4000 plus 5100 equals 9100. You're pretty good, but my Shinny is better. You see, she can absorb the effects of my opponent's spell cards and use them herself. He said as Shinigami absorbed the attack of the mechanized beast. Ghostrick Shinigami 5100 plus 9100 equals 14200. You know, Naruto, this might be. No, this is the most fun I think I've ever had, she said as their 2 behemoths were about to clash. Naruto just chuckled. I had fun too. If you ever want to get schooled again, just call me. Era, are you flirting with me? Z asked in a fake surprised tone. Maybe you're cute enough to get my attention. Naruto countered, getting the obelisk blue to blush just a bit. Well Z, it's been real fun, but this duel is mine. Ghostrick Shinigami, finish this. Sorry, but this duel is not over yet. I activate my trap card Final Fusion. This card takes both the attack points of our fusion monsters and deals it to damage as both of us. 14,200 plus 9,100 equals 23,300. Nani? Naruto said as their vision was engulfed in a bright light before everything exploded and both duelists were blown back. Z100 minus 23,300 equals 0. Naruto 600 minus 23,300 equals 0. Draw. Around a minute later, Naruto cracked an eye open until he hopped to his feet and groaned as he walked over to the now sitting Z and helped her up. Both duelists turned towards the still silent crowd. Naruto, who had gotten fed up with their silence, yelled out, "Well, what do you think? Wasn't that one hell of a duel?" That single sentence was the straw that broke the camel's back as the entire began cheering for the 2 seasoned duelists. So Z-chan, wanna do this again sometime? Naruto asked with a fox-like grin on his face. Z just nodded. I almost forgot. Here's your reward for the duel, she said as she slightly went on her tiptoes and kissed Naruto's cheek, getting said blonde to blush before fainting, eliciting a cute giggle from the obelisk blue female that earned her a glare from the other females in the vicinity. About a week later. So are you all ready to depart? Naruto asked his creatures that were either flying around and causing all sorts of chaos or sleeping by his side. Hi. They cheered, or in Kura's case yipped, as several of them were shrouded in the shadows. Alright, let's go troll some idiots, he said as he touched the cheek Z, Alexis and even Jaden had smooched before he had left for the summer. Do you think they might have feelings for him? Nah, they were probably just being friendly. Well, hello big black voidy shiny eyes dragon, Naruto said. He began a new story, but that's for another time. It was a bright and sunny day as the Duel Academy boat sailed back to its home with a fresh batch of new and returning students. Among the returning students, one male in particular was attracting a lot of attention, especially from the female populace. He was a handsome blonde teen with crimson in his hair and 3 whisker marks adorning each of his cheeks, playing against a 3-tailed crimson fox. He was dressed in a pair of blue jean pants and a slifer red hoodie with the kanji for trick and dragon labeled in black on the back of it. On his back was a large and long package wrapped up in bandages strapped across his back. Around his neck was a thin chain that led to a mini Excalibur. Fate stay night saber's noble phantasm. Oh come on Kura, he said as the small red fox snickered. Where did you even get a spellbinding circle card? I don't even have one of those, he asked as his monsters were wiped out by the spamming trap card. The fox growled at the blonde before leaping onto his head and curling up in a ball to go to sleep. The blonde only chuckled as he scratched behind the ears of the fox and nodded off, along with the fox looking quite cute. Unknown to him, a feminine pair of brown eyes were glaring at him from across the room with an intense amount of curiosity in them. Looks like she was right, but this time he won't be able to run away from me on an island. He won't be able to escape from any of us anymore, the owner of the brown eyes thought. It looks like our little prince has another admirer, right? Aya-chan, the spirit of dark magician girl, said to the floating spirit of guardian Itos. Mana remained relatively the same besides her increase of height by about 4 inches and the increase in her ahem assets above and below the waistline to a low D cup. Itos crossed her arms and Simple looked away from the smaller blonde and huffed with a cute pout and glare towards the new competition towards her foxy blonde hunk. Itos has also filled out below and above her waist to a mid D cup. I still don't like the fact he has to have a harem. Mana shrugged. I know it's a hard thing to accept, but I don't believe Naruto would be able to choose between us and any one other girl that makes her way into his heart, she said before an evil grin replaced her usual smile. She slowly crept up behind the angel-like guardian before tackling her. Plus it is a bonus that I get more girls to love, she said as she leaned in closer to Itos's face with a large blush. Hey punk, an arrogant voice called out, getting the attention of the blonde. The voice belonged to Ryusuke Hasiano, a brand new obelisk blue student who decent with his dragon cards, but has a view about to the feminine gender that makes him less than a decent guy. Plus he wasn't all that good looking with shaggy brown hair and dark green eyes. I heard you almost beat that bitch Z Trusdale. That just means you're as weak as she. Anything else he wanted to say was halted as Naruto's fist impacted his face. Sometimes Naruto really did hate dumbasses, even if he could beat the ever-living crap out of every single one of the douchebags. I can't believe my dream came true, Crowler said from Chancellor Chancellor Crowler's boss chair. I'm finally the Chancellor, he yelled, cackling manically. You mean the temporary Chancellor Crowler, a short man spoke out in a French accent. This man was partly bald at the top of his head. This is Crowler's replacement, Vice Chancellor Bonaparte. Now come on, we have to welcome the new students. Hold on 1 minute shorty, Crowler began. Have you actually taken a look at these files on some of these students? Ashley Phoenix is here on campus. Ashley Phoenix? You mean the pro duelist who's never lost a duel? Bonaparte responded as Crowler nodded his head. What on earth would she be doing here? Your guess would probably be as good as mine, Crowler said, looking over the files of her and the other students. Odd, some of these students are powerful, too powerful for Duel Academy. What does this mean? Crowler thought. I wonder where everyone is. Naruto wondered as he and his fox left the ship and wandered around the school, until Kura pointed one of her black-tipped tails towards the duel arena. Good idea, he said as the foxy duo made their way to the arena, taking note of the small amount of group following him. Interesting, he thought. Wanting to make a cool entrance, he walked to the top section of the indoor duel arena. And as he did, he was instantly greeted by the sight of elemental hero Rampart Blaster firing her rockets at Cyrus as the cyan-colored haired boy's life points dropped to a solid 0. Kura yipped before jumping off the blonde's head and running to one of the lower levels. In the duel arena were Cyrus, Bastion, Chaz, Alexis and Jaden, all talking about the incoming newbies and if there's anybody to be on the lookout for. Everyone looked relatively the same besides the outfits Jaden was dressed in. Gone was Jaden's short skirt and skin-tight shirt. Now she was dressed in red boots with black knee socks and a pair of short shorts. She also had a tight black shirt with a red dress shirt and dark gray fingerless gloves. So anybody to watch out for this year? Jaden asked as she bounced around on her toes. Chaz nodded, quite a few actually. From what I've heard, there's an increase of strong female duelists. But that doesn't mean there aren't males to watch out for as well. There were 5 duelists in particular. One was a female water-type duelist that completely dismantled the proctor. In the stands, a pair of reddish-pink eyes narrowed in the stands. There was also a female plant-type duelist who barely beat the proctor, but you could tell she was holding back a lot. This time a pair of brown eyes narrowed. Cyrus interrupted, don't forget about the female thunder-type duelist who beat the proctor 2 turns. A pair of dark red eyes remained stoic from another part of the arena. There was a male student that beat Ms. Fontaine, Alexis said before she frowned. He was a total pervert and an asshole that said women shouldn't be handling a man's game and should be either in the kitchen or the bedroom. He uses a warrior deck. A pair of green eyes gleamed as they zeroed in on the assets of Jaden and Alexis. And you know, he's going to be here soon, Jaden said until a small red blur tackled her onto the floor. What the? She began until she noticed it was a very familiar crimson-furred three-tailed fox with black-tipped tails and ears. Kura? The gang shouted. Bastion said, if she's here that means I'm back and better than ever, so beware, Naruto said from behind him with an arm hanging from over Jaden's shoulder. Naruto. The gang said each one greeted Naruto in their own way, from a noogie to Cyrus, to a fist bump from Chaz and Bastion to finally a quick hug from Alexis and Jaden. Man, you're a sight for sore eyes, Alexis said. You see, before Naruto had left the island he had gotten to know a few of the students and actually helped them out with some of their more personal problems. For example, he gave Cyrus just a bit of confidence to actually talk to a girl instead of just staring and running away. He made Bastion take a break from studying and Chaz just a bit less of an snob. Now he's still a snob, but just a bit friendlier to strangers and friends. Naruto grinned foxily. Damn, didn't know I was that good looking, Naruto said. He scratched the back of his head. Yes you are, Jaden and Alexis thought with a quick lick of the lips as they saw Naruto's really well-built form. Don't get too full of yourself, Chaz said with his arms crossed until Naruto pulled down his eyelid and wiggled his tongue, getting Chaz's left eye to tick. Noticing something out of the ordinary with their blonde friend, Cyrus spoke out. Hey Naruto, what's with the package on your back? Cyrus asked, referring to the package strapped across Naruto's back wrapped in white bandages. Let's just call it an insurance policy for when dueling isn't enough for someone to get the message, he said with an all-too-sweet smile. The crimson blonde's grin quickly turned to a frown, much to the shock of the gang, as they had never seen Hedachrome Teen frown. Now angry, yes, but that was in the case of a madman trying to take over the world, again. Era, how rude of me, I forgot we have guests, Naruto said as he stuck his hands in the middle hoodie pouch and turned around to the small group that had gathered in different parts of the arena. Standing near the north entrance was a blue-haired female teen with 4 light blue bangs. The 2 on the outside were longer while the smaller ones were framed just above her forehead. Her eyes were a pinkish red that were currently filled with ferocity. She was an obelisk blue if her uniform was to go by. As for how it fit, she matched Alexis, that's all that needs to be said. The boys, bar Naruto, were almost drooling. Behind her were the silhouettes of 2 female monsters, with one holding a scepter and the other was holding a scythe. You can't escape us anymore, Foxy, she thought. She looks kinda familiar, Naruto thought as her eyes focused on Alexis and Jaden. Near the east entrance was a female teen with short dark red hair and 2 long tails of hair down to her shapely hips. Her eyes were a dark brown that held curiosity in them, and she was dressed in the alternate version of the Slifer red uniform. A Slifer red long-sleeved polo shirt over her C-cup stole developing breasts and a black skirt down to right above her knees. Now the boys were drooling. Behind her was the silhouette of a flower-like dragon. You are ours and nobody else's, Foxy, she thought. She looks very familiar, he thought as her eyes stared into his soul with a minuscule amount of pink on her face. Near the south entrance was another female with long light blue hair, and on top of her hair were 2 circles facing one behind the other in the middle of her head. Her reddish-pink eyes were half-lidded and filled with nothing at all. It actually unnerved the gang. She was dressed in a light yellow shirt that covered her low C-cup breasts, and her shirt was covered by the raw yellow jacket with white stripes and a white miniskirt. Now there was a pool of drool around the boys. Behind her were the silhouettes of a serpent-like dragon, and a multiple-headed creature. It's time to pay your dues, Foxy, and you have a lot to pay for, she thought. Okay, I'm pretty damn sure I've met these 3 girls, but I just can't remember from where, he thought as an itchy feeling appeared at the back of his neck. Also, why do I feel like I'm gonna get raped really soon? Naruto, having enough of the boys drooling, cracked his knuckles before a rope fell from the ceiling. Naruto grinned as he pulled the rope. From the ceiling came an electric eel? Now let's do some quick science. Water plus electricity equals 1 nasty fucking shock. Where the fuck did he get an eel? Everyone thought as a small halo appeared above Naruto's head as he smiled sweetly. In the west entrance was the only male. He had short brown hair with green eyes that wandered and leered over the assets of all the females in the room, making said females cover their forms. He was an obelisk blue, and a cocky one at that, if that smirk was anything to go by. His form was built okay for a guy his age, but compared to Naruto this guy was a stick. Behind him was the shadow of a large warrior with a small head compared to the rest of his body. So many girls, so little time. He thought before he was hit in the head with something heavy. A mother of *ing brick who in the hell threw a damn brick at his head. He was dice kmanamura heir to Gato Industries. This had nothing to do with the fact Naruto had been carrying a sack of bricks since he left the ship. All four of the new students stared at the older group for a solid minute before Naruto popped his neck and his eyes turned into slits before Drasension and a black dragon covered in shadows along with Ghostrick Shinigami and two other human-sized figures appeared behind the Hedachrome blonde. The new teens backed up as the two dragons roared together in unison before the females took one last look at Naruto and the lone male leered at the girls before they left separately. Naruto began to chuckle. Now this is going to be fun. But I still feel like there's something missing, Naruto said before a delicate hand tapped his shoulder gaining his attention. The owner of said hand was another blonde-haired girl with her hair done in a ponytail and amber-colored eyes. Her outfit consisted of a dark blue cloak and a green scarf wrapped around her neck. In her other hand was a small brown box. "Ah, thanks Kisa," Naruto said as he patted the blonde on the head, getting her to blush before she vanished in a burst of speed. "What?" the foxy teen asked as he received multiple stares from the duelists in the room. Chaz cleared his throat before walking up to Naruto. "Oh, nothing much except what is it? Oh yeah, who the hell was that? Didn't you hear me say her name?" Naruto asked as he childishly tilted his head to the side. "I'll kill you," Chaz shouted as he jumped towards Naruto, hoping to wring his neck out, only for Naruto to clothesline Chaz and dropped his elbow onto Chaz's chest. "You have such a cute girl with you. Why the hell do you need Jaden and my Lexi too? Are you trying to make a harem, you bastard?" he yelled, trying to get the blonde off his chest. Naruto tilted his head to the side. "You mean Kisa? She's one of the monsters in my deck known as the Lady of Dragons. She just gave me a package I left at home." "Oop, now I'm sure there are lots of questions that will all be answered," Bastion began, "but unless we all want detention, we have orientation in 5 minutes, every duelist for themselves," he yelled, already out the door. Naruto held up 3 fingers and began to count down, 3, 2, 1, "and everybody is already gone," he said. Good, something was already calling him anyway. He pulled out a small set of cards in their card sleeves. These cards pulsed out with a black energy that enveloped Naruto for a second, only for it to dissipate a split second later. "They're getting restless again," he said as he pulled back the sleeve of his arm and saw nothing. He then grabbed the Excalibur necklace and muttered a quick Chan 1T before vanishing in a burst of speed. Interesting," a new voice spoke out from the shadows. After the orientation speech, the gang just walked the halls talking until Naruto snapped his fingers and pulled out the brown package. "I almost forgot again, while I was in the Synchro and XYZ countries I picked up a few new cards for you guys," he said as he handed each member a set of cards. "Chaz, you get Ohama Country, Ohama Red, Ohama Blue and the Dark Armed Dragon along with a surprise card." "What's up, boss?" Ohama Red and Ohama Blue said as they waved their arms around, before they were joined by the "Oh my god, there's more of them, why don't you just kill me where I stand?" Chaz cries with anime tears pouring from his eyes. That bastard just wanted to see him squirm and always be annoyed by these damn Ojamas. Cyrus, here is the rest of the Roid series plus the Ultimate Roid card Barbaroid, the Ultimate Battle Machine. But let me warn you, it's a card you may not be ready for. Gulp, thanks Naruto, Cyrus muttered as his eyes were drawn towards the giant android with attack points equal to his sister's Cyber End Dragon. Cool, a strong monster all his own to prove he's just not Z's little brother. Bastion, for you I had some trouble finding a card, so I just got the whole damn wind-up monster set, Naruto said as he gave the deck to Bastion. For once I don't know what to say, Bastion said as he thought of millions of ways to use this new deck. These cards were perfect for a million new strategies he just thought of. Alexis the First thought the Cyber Angels, the Allure Queens, and a few extra special cards would suit you the best. Thank you Naruto-kun, she said as she took the cards from the blonde with a pink hue across her cheeks. This was so sweet. The only other person to ever give her a card and not try to get into her skirt was her older brother Atticus, and now Naruto. She'd have to talk to her mother about this warm feeling in her chest. Could it be she likes the crimson blonde boy? No way. She definitely needed to talk to her mother. And Jaden, this took me a while to find, but here is the rest of the elemental heroes. Naruto finished as he handed the final set of cards to the elemental hero user. Jaden didn't say anything as she took the cards from Naruto. After looking at the cards for a few seconds she glomped Naruto, smashing her high C-cup breasts into Naruto's face, saying thank you over and over again. Was it just her or was it hot in here? If Naruto kept being such a good boy she might start falling in love with him, and honestly that might not be so bad. Naruto's face turned beet red before he stuttered out, It's no problem at all, after all you guys are my friends and friends are supposed to help their friends. He finished scratching the back of his head. That's sweet, a new voice spoke out from behind them. The clique turned towards the owner of the voice to see a girl with short silver hair and blue eyes similar to Naruto's own eyes. She was dressed in a gray business suit with the top 2 buttons undone, showing off some of her generous cleavage. Who are you? Cyrus asked with hearts in his eyes. This girl was very pretty with her silver hair and her voice was sweet like honey. Which one of you is Jaden Yuki? She asked as a sword pierced Cyrus' heart at being completely ignored, again. Naruto ruffled his head in an attempt to cheer him up as Jaden introduced herself. You can just call me Ash and I would like to have a duel with you. I'm kinda new here and I want to duel one of the best to see where I stand here at Duel Academy, she said with a bright smile that Naruto could automatically tell was fake. Alright, I'll teach you a few new things if you want, Jaden said with a fire in her eyes as some of Bastion left to get more acquainted his new cards. Well, alright then, get ready to get your game on, she said with a smirk as Jaden growled. Nobody steals her punchlines and gets away with it, it is so on. They exited the building and walked to the cliff of the card shop. Is it just me or does she seem very familiar? Cyrus asked from a higher position on the cliff. Alexis nodded. Now that you say it, she does. What do you think, Naruto? Naruto, where the hell did he go? She asked, but she probably already knew what he was doing, pulling pranks on people. She was just a bit worried about the fact those 3 freshmen from earlier had stared at Naruto like some long-lost lover while they stared at her and Jaden like they were threats that needed to be destroyed. Kuro whined in her arms as the lack of being pampered, until the pretty blonde woman returned to petting just like the 3 other blondes that were always with her father. She really hoped he would settle down with his mates and give her plenty of brothers or sisters to play with or a belly rub. Belly rubs are nice. Let's duel. Duel start. I'll go first, Ash began. I summon Ohama Yellow in defense mode and that's all for now, she said as the yellow slug ogre creature in a speedo appeared in a puff of smoke. Ohama Yellow LV2 Beast 0 80 1000 Def. Jaden 4000. Really, Ohama Yellow, what did you do, take lessons from Chaz? Jaden asked as a loud, hey, rang out from the top of the cliff, no doubt from the Chaz. Let me show you how we at Duel Academy do it. I summon Elemental Hero Heat in attack mode. A white-skinned hero dressed in yellow and red armor appeared in a bright flame. Elemental Hero Heat LV4 Warrior 1680 1200 Def. What the heck, there's no such thing Elemental Hero Heat. Ashley thought as she frowned that was quickly hidden by her fake smile. Why haven't I ever heard of this hero before? My hero gains 200 attack points for every elemental hero on the field including himself. Now go Scorching Fist. She ordered as her hero pulverized the little yellow ogre looking thing with a single punch. That's all for now. Ash 4000. Guess it's my move next, so I'll set a card face down and activate the spell card reload, which basically sends the cards in my hand back into my deck and lets me draw the same number of cards into my deck after shuffling, of course. Next up I activate Sanctuary in the Sky, she said as the field turned into a temple situated on top of a cloud. Now any battle damage that a player takes that involves a fairy-type monster either player control will become 0, she began. Next I normal summon Warrior of Zera in attack mode, she said as a brown-skinned warrior dressed in green armor appeared. Warrior of Zera LV4 Warrior 1680 1600 Def. I then tribute Warrior of Zera to special summon Archlord Zerato, 2800 2300s, in attack position. But I'm not done, she said as a feathered man in a light green cloak and angel wings appeared in a flurry of feathers. Archlord Zerato LV8 Fairy 2880 2300 Def. Next I activate Zerato's effect and discard Mystical Shine Ball and destroy Hero Heat, she said as a bright stream of light destroyed the flaming hero. Now go Zerato, attack her life points directly, she said as her angel shot a flurry of feathers towards the Slifer Red. Jaden 4000 minus 2800 equals 1200. That's all for now. Hey, are you okay? She asked as Jaden began laughing. I'm better than alright. You're pretty good for a fresh. Jaden began before a ringtone blared from the silver-haired girl. Excuse me for a moment. Seriously, you can't wait until after the duel to take a call? She asked with her hands on her hips. Who the heck pulls out a cell phone in the middle of a duel? Chaz asked. Someone who's way too cocky, Alexis muttered as she crossed her arms, still wondering where her fellow blonde is. This'll just take a minute, she said as she answered her phone. Yeah, I'm dueling her right now. In a pure white room far away from Duel Academy. Good, now don't forget you must lose to Jaden, a white-cloaked figure said as he laid down a series of tarot cards. The 3 cards placed down are the Dark Queen, which represents Jaden, that when upside down represents just a girl in love going down a dark path. The Fallen Star, which represents Ashley, that when right side up shows the descent of one's soul. And finally there's the Tortured King, that when right side up shows the ascension of one who truly holds a perfect soul that cannot be swayed. I have a hunch on who this person is, but I need more time to truly see if he is the one. Back to the duel. Jaden 1200. My draw. Jaden began before a little brown furball with green hands and feet with small white angel wings appeared beside her head saying, "Curry curry," over and over again. Hey winged Karibo, what's up? She asked as the aerial Karibo tried to push her away from the duel and towards the forest. Hold on, just let me finish this duel. Apparently that wouldn't work for the little fluffball as it kept tackling her head with as much force as it could mutter, so not very much. Is she literally talking to her cards? Ashley wondered, just what is so important about her that I have to lose this duel? I've never thrown a duel in my life, so why now? I activate Pot of Greed and draw 2 cards. Next up I summon Elemental Hero Clayman in defense mode, she said as a hero made of stone and clay was summoned on the field. Elemental Hero Clayman LV4 Warrior 880 2000 def. But he won't be here for long because I activate Metamorphosis and sacrifice him to summon Elemental Hero Clay Guardian, and you lose 200 life points for every card on your side of the field. She said as Clayman was upgraded with what looked like football-like armor and a big red shield. Elemental Hero Clay Guardian 880 2800 def. Ashley 4000 minus 600 equals 3400. Ashley 3400. Then it's my move, she began. And I'll activate Beckoning Light, which lets me add Mystic Shine Ball to my hand only to discard it to destroy your Clay Guardian, she said as Clay Guardian was destroyed leaving her defenseless. Now go Archlord Zerato, attack her life points directly. Not so fast. I activate Flute of Summoning Karibo and summon Winged Karibo in defense mode, she said as her little puffball defended her from Zerato's attack. Stubborn aren't you? You should just give up. It's my destiny to beat you, she said. Destiny? Yes, when we are born some of us are born to win, the rest of you are born to lose, that's the fact of destiny. Jaden 1200. Whatever, it's my move, and this duel is mine. First up I summon Elemental Hero Stratus in attack mode, she said as a blue and gray armored hero with large mechanized wings and turbines on said wings and a clear blue visor shielding his eyes. Elemental Hero Stratus LV4 Warrior 1880 1300 def. Elemental Hero Stratus has 2 abilities I can activate when he's summoned. I can either add 1 Elemental Hero card to my hand or destroy a spell or trap card for every Elemental Hero on my side of the field, and I'll add 1 card to my hand. Next up I'll activate Polymerization, fuse my Stratus with the Shadow Mist in my hand to fusion summon Elemental Hero Great Tornado, she said as her monsters fused into a caped crusader with orange and white gauntlets dressed in orange and green armor appeared in a strong gust of wind. When Great Tornado is summoned I can have the attack and defense points of every monster my opponent controls. Elemental Hero Great Tornado LV8 Warrior 2880 2200 def. Archlord Zerato 2880 2300 def. 1480 1150 def. Now go Great Tornado, destroy Zerato with Big Bang Tornado Shot, she ordered as the hero's fist was encased in a mini tornado as he punched a hole straight the angel as the tornado blew the rest of him away, but since Sanctuary in the Sky was still in play Ashley took no damage. I'm not done because I activate Diffusion to separate Great Tornado back into Elemental Hero Stratus and Necroshade. The airborne hero reappeared along with a dark red and black skinned man with skull-like markings across his face and arms. Elemental Hero Stratus 1880 1300 def. Elemental Hero Shadow Mist 1080 1500 def. Now go. Attack with Turbine Gust and Nightmare Claw. She said as both heroes launched an attack towards the silver-haired freshman. Ashley 4000 minus 1800 minus 1000 equals 1200. Not bad, Ashley began, but I thought you said you were gonna beat me this turn. Oh, I am, and it's because of the spell card Instant Fusion, which allows me to fusion summon a new hero. So come on out, Elemental Hero Escudario. She said as a female hero completely covered in shadows, making it hard to identify her gender, appeared with only her red eyes showing, appeared out of the portal. Elemental Hero Escudario LV8 Warrior 2580 2000 def. My hero gains 100 attack points for every hero in my graveyard, and I have 2. Elemental Hero Escudario 2500 plus 200 equals 2700. Now go Dark Drive. She said as her new hero launched a small dark orb at the freshman, before the orb exploded in a column of darkness. Ashley 1200 minus 2700 equals 0. Winner Jaden. Well, albeit she's actually stronger than I gave her credit for, still not as strong as me but still not bad, she thought before she simply walked away. Even when Jaden tried to call her name, she continued to walk back towards the docks. Well, that's rude, Alexis said as the crimson fox still in her arms snickered and waved her tails around in a playful fashion. Again, a deep voice said as the clanging of metal echoed throughout the forest. In an open clearing, the heterochrome-eyed teen blocks a sword from a green, blue-armored knight. He pushes the knight off before he jumped back to avoid a slash that would taken off his head. After a few more clashes, Naruto had sidestepped a powerful slash and countered with one hell of a kick to the front of the knight's chest. Said knight was armored on every part of his body besides his face, where a nasty scar across his left eye took its residence. The blade he was wielding was a claymore that was as tall as he was. It was colored silver with black lines running diagonally across the blade. The handle was a golden bronze as 2 prongs were angled towards the handle. Explosion from Ravemaster. You're improving quite quickly, Naruto-sama. The knight said, kneeling in front of the teen only for the teen to hold out his hand and pulled the knight back onto his feet. Thank you, Timaeus, but I know I still have a lot to learn about the art of swordsmanship, Naruto stated as he bowed to the former dragon, before said knight vanished in a golden glow and returned back into spiritual plane. Sword training complete. Next up, Magic Train MPH. He was interrupted as his magic instructor tackled him from behind and sent him face first into the ground with a familiar weight being placed on his back. Hey Mana, how's it going? He grumbled with his voice being barely audible. Dark Magician Girl just giggled as she let her fellow blonde of the ground, but still sat next to him. Hey Mana, may I ask a question? Naruto asked as the itching sensation on the back of his neck. Sure you can, she said with a bright smile across her face. Those 3 girls from earlier, do I know them? Because they sure as hell look they know me? He asked as he scratched at the sensation, but no matter what it wouldn't go away. Mana's smile dropped from her face as she quickly put on a fake smile. I don't know anything about them besides seeing one of them on the boat this morning, she said as her heart broke seeing Naruto sad for a moment before she said, hey, we still have to practice you magic, and I'll even teach you a new technique. I'm sorry Naruto, but for now you cannot know who they are until you can get a better grip of your abilities. Naruto instantly perked up and she was positive if he had a tail it would be wagging in excitement. Alright, let's get it going. First up, trap cards now use Mirror Force, she said as Naruto held up the trap card and a multicolored barrier elicited itself around the 2, effectively creating Mirror Force. Next up, spell cards now use Swords of Revealing Light and Copycat, she ordered as Naruto held up the spell cards and series of light shot down from the sky and pierced the ground before Naruto splits into 10 equal copies of himself. Not bad, now I will teach you a few techniques of my own design, get ready, she said before she teleported around 10 feet away. The copies disappeared fairly quickly. Got it, he said before he clapped his hands together and teleported 5 feet away. There was just one problem, he reappeared upside down 2 feet into the air, and as you know, due to the law of anime, he stayed above ground for 3 seconds before gravity took hold and dropped him onto his head. This might take a while, Dark Magician Girl said before Duel Academy's arena exploded, getting the 2 blondes' attention. Naruto nodded towards Mana, getting an eager nod in return as she dissipated and returned back into his deck. The Hedichrome teen then picked himself up off the ground before he darted off towards the school, but he still had that itching feeling near his neck. "Great Scott, what's going on?" Bastion yelled as he and the other members of the gang arrived to see the arena in a complete state of disarray, with a completely one-sided duel going on between the red-haired Slifer Red from earlier and an obelisk blue male named Koda. Said obelisk blue male's jacket was torn and burned in certain areas. Koda was an upstart obelisk blue in his final year that actually was set to turn pro after this year with his silent LV deck, when all of a sudden this cute Slifer Red chick challenged him to a duel. Now while he did wager that if he won she would go on a date with him, he had no idea she was such a freak. He couldn't believe that when she did damage he actually felt it. Slifer Red 1000, Violet Witch LV4 Spellcaster 1180-1200 Def. Blue Rose Dragon LV4 Dragon 1680-1200 Def. 2 face-down cards, 3 cards in hand. Koda 2400. Silent Swordsman LV7 Warrior 2800 Takas 1000 Def. Silent Magician LV8 Spellcaster 3580-1000 Def. 1 face-down card, no cards in hand. "It's over you Slifer slacker freak," he yelled as the Slifer Red's eyes narrowed in anger. "Now go my silent monsters, wipe out the rest of these freaks' life points," he ordered as his silent monsters rushed to finish off the rest of her life points. "I activate the trap card Spirit Barrier," she stated with an edge in her voice. The obelisk blue grinned. "Predictable, I activate my trap card Royal Decree and negate your trap card." "No you don't, I activate the effect of the Rose Archer in my hand. Since I control a plant-type monster, your Royal Decree is negated and my Spirit Barrier protects me from all the damage I would have taken." Koda growled, "Fine, turn end." Slifer Red. "It's my draw, because you destroyed my Violet Witch I can add a plant-type monster to my hand. Now I summon Twilight Rose Knight, and because I did I can also summon Lord Poison from my hand," she said as a small silver-haired knight in dark purple armor and a root-like creature with claws appeared next to one another. Twilight Rose Knight LV3 Warrior 1080-1000 Def. Lord Poison LV4 Plant 1580-1000 Def. Now I'll tune my level 4 Lord Poison with my Twilight Rose Knight to synchro summon a mighty beast, now Bloom Black Rose Dragon, she said as her ace monster appeared before her in a violent flurry of rose petals. It was a black dragon with a thorny tail wrapped in multiple layers of roses. Black Rose Dragon LV7 Dragon 2480-1800 Def. "Ha, your dragon still isn't strong enough to do damage to any of my monsters," Koda sneered. "Next up I activate my dragon's ability to remove Lord Poison from play and change your Silent Magician's attack points to 0, she said as thorn-like spires held the magician in place as its 3500 attack points dropped straight down to 0, much to Koda's shock. "Now go Black Rose Gale," she ordered as her dragon spat a purple flame towards the magician and incinerated it within a few moments and sent Koda into the flying. Koda 2400 minus 2400 equals 0. Winner Slifer Red. Koda was blown back into a wall quite hard, leaving him stuck in the wall. Unfortunately his deck was destroyed in the process. The crowd was in a huge panic as the students ran around like chickens with the heads cut off. On a lighter note, the arena had a really big new skylight. "What's your damage?" Alexis asked as the redhead turned her head towards Alexis before she glared at them all, but especially Jaden and Alexis. Alexis the first, don't think it is a good idea to antagonize the person with superpowers," Cyrus stated as Naruto came running into the arena at very fast rate. She doesn't have superpowers, she has powers like mine that allows her to bring monsters into this world," he said as Akiza walked toward him with a slight glare in her eyes until she stopped right in front of him. "It's been a while, hasn't it Naruto?" she said, stroking the whiskered cheek, getting him to purr in response and completely mellow out. She smirked towards the females of the gang as they grew quite angry at their friend being petted like an animal. They wanted to pet him too. "Naruto, you want to fill us in on who this is?" Jaden asked as she tapped her foot. Naruto brought his face out of the redhead's hands only for her to reach him and grab both his cheeks and shoving his face into her chest as she continued her ministrations on his cheeks, getting him to blush and mellow out once again. "If you wanted to know my name you should have just asked me yourself," She began, "My name is Akiza Azinski and I'm one of Naruto's fiancés." What? They all yelled, including Naruto, who had managed to pull himself from her breasts before another part of the statement finally set in. "One of? You mean I has more than one fiancé?" Akiza lightly chuckled before she noticed that Alexis and Jaden seemed to be a bit ticked off. "What's the matter, you mad? Someone else got to him first. Well, too bad, he belongs to us." "Now wait a minute. No owns Naruto Uzumaki, now they can rent me, but no one owns this ass," he yelled, glaring down at her as she simply smirked. "Oh really? Yeah, oh yeah, you positive? For the love of ramen, yes," he replied, only to be kneed square in the crotch, getting him lean down to her level as she grabbed his face and gently smashed her lips into his own. Naruto's eyes shot open as he lifted his hands into the air and after a second grabbed her shoulders and forcefully separated the two. "See ya around, Naruto," she said before she simply walked off with a blush on her face and a sway in her hips, knowing Naruto would stare as he did. Naruto watched as she walked out the arena only to feel a heavy and angry aura pressing down on him. "Oh shit," he muttered as he turned around and saw an outraged Alexis and Jaden staring at him with a look that just spelled pain. "Naruto, you have a lot of explaining to do," they said in unison as he silently began begging for Kami to save him. "Hey punk," a familiar voice called out as Naruto thanked Kami before he had to duck a fist that would have struck his face. "I owe you for the punch in the face on the boat, so let's duel, or better yet just give me those nice girls over there and I'll save you the embarrassment," Ryusuke said. "What a chump," Chaz said. "Naruto, kick his ass." Naruto glared at the obelisk blue. "Fine by me, you insulted my friends. Plus you still need a lesson anyway, let's go," he said as the two squared off before his arm blazed over and his white-hot duel disc appeared. "Let's duel." Naruto 4000. Ryusuke 4000. "I'll go first," Ryusuke began. "I summon Lord of D in attack mode and activate the flute of summoning dragons, so come on out, Prime Material Dragon and Dark Horus onto my field," he said as a man dressed in a dragon cloak blew a golden dragon-shaped horn and two more dragons appeared on the field. One was a dark gold with two sets of wings. The other was a black version of Horus the Black Flame Dragon LV8. Lord of Dragons LV4 Spellcaster 1280 1100 Def. Prime Material LV6 Dragon 2480 2000 Def. Dark Horus LV8 Dragon 3080 1800 Def. Then I'll set a card face down and end my phase. Let's see you do better than that punk. Naruto 4000. My move, and first up I activate Mystical Space Typhoon to destroy your face down, he said as a storm blew away the bottomless trap hold trap card. I then activate Pot of Greed and draw two cards, then I discard a card to special summon the Tricky from my hand in defense mode. Then I normal summon Lady of Dragons in attack mode. He began as S-figure and a circus magician getup appeared alongside the blonde from earlier. The Tricky LV5 Spellcaster 2080 1200 Def. Lady of Dragons LV4 Spellcaster 1580 1100 Def. And then I'll activate Monster Reborn and bring back the card I sent to the graveyard, Dark Magician Girl, and since I have no monsters in my graveyard I can special summon Guardian Itos, he said as the blonde duo also appeared on the field waving at the Hedachrome blonde. Dark Magician LV6 Spellcaster 2080 1700 Def. Guardian Itos LV8 Fairy 2580 2000 Def. She looks prettier than I remember, Cyrus said with heart in his eyes. Now go Itos, destroy Prime Material, and Dark Magician Girl, destroy Lord of Dragons if you will. Naruto ordered as Itos cut through the brown dragon and Lord of D was destroyed in a magical dark energy blast. Ryusuke 4000 -500 -800 equals 2700. I'll set a card face down and end my turn, Naruto said as Ryusuke growled. Ryusuke 2700. It's my move, punk, he began. I'm ditching my Black Horus, but not before I activate its effect and bring back Lord of D in defense mode. And now that that's done, I'm sending Horus to the grave to summon Strong Wind Dragon, and my new dragon gains half of the attack of Dark Horus. Lord of Dragons LV4 Spellcaster 1280 1100 Def. Strong Wind Dragon LV6 2400 80 1000 Def. 2400. 3900. That's going to be tough to beat, Alexis said. Now go Strong Wind Dragon, destroy the Tricky with Wind Storm Assault, and when Storm Wind Dragon attack you take the damage between the attack of Stormwind and your Tricky. He said as his dragon destroyed the Tricky in a tornado-like gust that erupted from the dragon's mouth. Naruto 4000-2700 equals 1300. And that's all with a face down. Show me what you got, you little punk. Naruto 1300. It's my move, Naruto began, and I'll fuse my Dark Magician Girl with the Eye of Timaeus to fusion summon Dark Magician Girl the Dragon Knight. He said as Mana donned knight's armor from her skirt up and mounted a giant bluish-green dragon with a scar over its left eye. In Mana's hand was a silver sword that sparkled in the sun. Dark Magician Girl the Dragon Knight LV7 Dragon 2680 1700 Def. Cyrus was passed out on the ground with a bloody nose soon after she was summoned. I activate her ability and send a card from my hand to the grave and destroy your face-down card, Naruto chided as the Ryusuke's mirror force was destroyed. Next up I equip Guardian Itos with Celestial Sword Itos, which increases her attack points by 500. Sometimes you gotta give a girl a gift once in a while. He said as Itos picked up a glowing white blade. Guardian Itos 2500 plus 500 equals 3000. That's still not enough to defeat my Strong Wind Dragon. Not yet anyway, because I activate Itos's ability to send her blade to the grave and then she gains 500 attack points for every banished card, and then her own blade gives her an extra 500 for every banished monster, he said. Guardian Itos 2500 plus 2000 equals 4500. You know what, let's go for overkill. I activate brain control and I'll borrow your Lord of D so I can overlay both Masters of the Dragons to XYZ summon Queen Dragon Jin. He said as the two dragon masters flew into a portal, and out of the portal appeared a blonde woman with black spikes coming from near her high ponytail. Her upper body was covered in black armor and the actual chest was shrouded in fire as her lower half was a blazing orange like fire that spread into 4 legs. Queen Dragon Jin R4 Dragon 2280 1200 Def. Now go my 3 Blondheims, please put him down if you will. Naruto stated as all 3 blondes launched a devastating attack towards the East Obelisk Blue. No way. Ryusuke yelled as his life points dropped to 0. Ryusuke 2700 600 2600 2200 equals 0. That was way too easy, Naruto said. He scratched his scalp before turning towards the direction of his dorm. See y'all later, I'm gonna check out my new room. He said as he began to walk off, only to realize he wasn't going anywhere. Oh Naruto, Jaden and Alexis cooed with way too sweet smiles, we're still not done here yet. Oh shit, Naruto said with all of his dual spirits laughing at him from the air.
That's all for now. If you want to see next part, then please like this video and subscribe my channel. Thank you.